Hello. Okay. I'm live. Look at that. Only 10 minutes late this time. That's cool. Nobody's here, so I'm gonna not talk a bunch. But I am gonna be setting up this here freaking deacon, what is it? This YouTube short so that some motherfuckers know that I'm live. Let's see what happens if I just write PJO Book 5 Read Stream Go. Bam. Percy Jackson Disney. Percy Jackson. Okay, cool. Let's try that. Awesome. Shorts be activated. Move this thing so I can see the actual chat when it starts to roll in. Okay. Hey, what's going on? It's Bonnie Faye. Nice to see you in the stream again. I am pretty good, actually. What about you? How's it going? Yes. Oh, nice little comment I just saw. Anyways, I'll look at that later. But alright, it is stream time once again. Back at it again with another Percy Jackson, The Last Olympian on Disney Channel. So technically he's on Disney Channel, but regardless. It might be considered a little bit sacrilegious, but I'm wearing a Harry Potter shirt right now. But I don't have any Percy Jackson shirts, and it's the shirt that I picked out to wear. So it is what it is. You just gotta deal with it. I just got home. I'm doing good. That's good, man. Oh boy, here we go again. Yes, Anthony Belding. Welcome in, the two people that I can always count on to be here. So I'm never reading alone. I appreciate you guys. Welcome in. I feel like these batch of chapters that I'm about to read are gonna be insane. There's nothing that I can really say to substantiate this claim other than that the last chapters, like it's particularly the Percy on the bridge one, was hype, and this, it just seems like shit is beginning to ramp up. And we're gonna go see the Golden Titan, I think, that was in Percy's dream. So that's something. That's pretty freaking cool. But yeah, let's see if we can run through what happened last stream, just so we can refresh my memory, just so we can be clear, and then we'll get into these new chapters. Hold on. What was it? Two snakes saved my life. They went up to Olympus, right? They met Hestia, and then freaking, what's his name? Hermes comes down, and he's like, you a bitch, and then he tries to kill him, and then he fails. Hold on, my fan is not pointing at me, and I'm kind of sweating a little bit. But yeah, tries to kill me, and then he fails. No, he doesn't fail. He stops because, I don't remember why he stops exactly. Oh, because the snakes tell him to or some shit. Yeah, two snakes save his life. Buy some new friends. Percy bribes the river spirits, and they help the battle. Cool. We break a bridge is, not gonna lie, the best chapter of the book so far. Percy's just ripping through 200 soldiers and the Minotaur, and he's just talking endless amounts of shit. That one's so cool. And then Rachel makes a bad deal. Rachel's like, she's like, we gotta go back to save a life. I wonder if her parents are gonna fall asleep when they get to New York or not, or how even Rachel's gonna help at all in this fight. But Rachel's a homie though. She's not any trained, she's got demigod abilities, but she's like, I gotta get back to save my boy. And Annabeth is, what's it? She's been stabbed, very sad, and she's in and out of life. It's okay here. Harry needs a place to hide from his writer, retconning everything in his existence. That's true. J.K. Rowling needs to stop. But I really like Harry Potter. The original, I haven't read the books. I do want to read the books, but the original movie's really good. And I'm scared for the remake, but we'll see what comes of that. Hopefully the remake will be better, but they have big shoes to fill because the original Harry Potter movies are just so iconic that I don't even know how they're going to do that. I wonder if Harry's going to be black this time. Who knows? Oh, hello, Shaughnessy Feeney. Welcome in. You're not here too often, but when you are, I appreciate it. Love that character. Rachel is top 10 Percy Jackson characters. I'm only gonna be on for a few. It's all good, man. Anytime you could join is time that is dope. Since you're all gonna be on for a few, we should probably get to reading in a bit. I don't even know why they're remaking them. Because money. That's the reason. Because they're like, hey, Percy Jackson's the thing that's making us money. And fantasy's getting big right now. That's a video that I'm working on. Fantasy is like coming back. We're not gonna talk too much about that. So yeah. Any other pre-chapter thoughts that I have before we get into these here chapters? I still want to know what Hestia means. That's the biggest thing for me. Like, the themes that have been set up in this book, I feel like are so far ahead of every other book that I'm, like, excited. Because the Hestia being the last Olympian and all that, really cool. So I'm excited. We're definitely not going to find that out in this bit, but I'm excited when we do find that out. I don't think I have anything else. I don't have any water either this time. I mean, I do, but I have this orange mango thingy. So we're kind of gearing away from the Percy Jackson themed drinks and shit. We'll be back with it next time, probably. Original Dragon Ball has gotten an updated remaster. What is it? We got Dragon Ball Z Kai. That's really an update, but we haven't gotten. It's a reorganizing, but we haven't gotten like Dragon Ball like Hunter x Hunter 2011 style with complete new reanimation. That'd be really cool. I wouldn't be shocked if they would do something like that, especially since Akira Toriyama's passed and everything like that. That'd be really cool. Tomorrow I'm going to restarting to reread the Heroes of Olympus series. I'm quite excited. It's been a while. Start reading. Okay. I've heard nothing but great things, and as the more I get into this book, the more I'm like, if Rick's advancing as much as a writer, I'm probably gonna like the Heroes of Olympus series more. So I'm excited to reread that. After I finish it, I probably I say right now is after I finish this book, I'm gonna be taking a break from Percy Jackson for a bit, because I want to actually work on some videos to be consistently put out, and then once I get in the rhythm of that, then I will be coming back to read Heroes of Olympus on stream. So yeah, because I definitely want to finish out that thing. I definitely want to read that. I'm currently watching OG Dragon Ball, and it's a good time, man. It's old. Yeah, OG Dragon Ball is great. It's hilarious. It's so fun. I like a lot of it more than I do the newer stuff, but OG Dragon Ball is really funny. Like, it's so fucking funny. But all right, I think that is enough for the pre-stream ramble. We've been doing it for almost 8 minutes. Get the thing up to let the people know that, boom, it's reading time. I hope people know that. I don't know, they probably don't. But regardless, big things are coming with this. Just mark my words. It's not going to be this for much longer. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, let's get into this chapter. It's always sad how OG Dragon Ball gets overlooked for Z. I know it really does. People need to. Every time someone's trying to get into Dragon Ball, I always recommend they start with the original, because it just provides so much for the world and the story. All right. Chapter 13. A Titan brings me a present. We could see the white flag from half a mile away. It was as big as a soccer field, carried by a 30-foot tall giant with bright blue skin and icy gray hair. A Hyperborean, Thalia said. The giants of the north. That's a really cool name for a creature. A Hyperborean. It's a bad sign that they sided with Kronos. They're usually peaceful. You've met them? I said. There's a big colony in Alberta. You do not want to get into a snowball fight with those guys. I would imagine not. As the giant got closer, I could see 3 human-sized envoys with him. A half-blood in armor, an Imposa demon with a black dress and flaming hair, and a tall man in a tuxedo. Probably the Titan. The Imposa held the Tux dude's arm, so they looked like a couple on their way to a Broadway show or something, except for her flaming hair and fangs. The group walked leisurely toward the Hexture playground. The swings and ball courts were empty. The only sound was the fountain on Umpire Rock. I looked at Grover. The Tux dude is the Titan. Yeah, they usually are. He nodded nervously. He looks like a magician. I hate magicians. They usually have rabbits. Because nature and all that. Yeah, I got you, Grover. I stared at him. You're scared of bunnies? Blah. They're big bullies, always stealing celery from defenseless satyrs. Oh, I didn't know Grover was scared of rabbits. That's hilarious. That's so funny. Dahlia coughed. What? Grover demanded. We'll have to work on your bunny phobia later, I said. Here they come. The man in the tux stepped forward. He was taller than an average human, about 7 feet tall. His black hair was tied in a ponytail. Dark, round glasses covered his eyes. But what really caught my attention was the skin on his face. It was covered in scratches, like he'd been attacked by a small animal. Oh, really, really mad hamster, maybe. Percy Jackson, he said in his silky voice. People love saying this man's full name. People really do. And honestly, I love it, because it's such a cool sounding name. It's really cool. Every single time somebody says that, I think of the thing Anthony brought up where it's like names are powerful, so every single time he says it, Percy gets stronger. I think that every time. Like not even game show the OG love. They don't. They really don't. It's really focused on Z. Sometimes we'll have like OG Dragon Ball DLC, but not too much. What's with all the carrots anyway? With rabbits? I don't know why that's a thing, but it's a stereotype that rabbits love carrots, so I don't even think that's true. But who knows? Where was I? Yeah. Percy Jackson, he said in a silky voice. It's a great honor. His lady friend, the Imposa, hissed at me. She probably heard how I destroyed 2 of her sisters last summer. My dear, Tuxdude said to her, why don't you make yourself comfortable over there, eh? She released his arm and drifted over to a park bench. I glanced at the armed demigod behind Tuxdude. I hadn't recognized him in his new helmet, but it was my old backstabbing buddy. It's always Ethan Nakamura. His nose looked like a squashed tomato from our fight on the Williamsburg Bridge. That made me feel better. Hey, Ethan, I said. You're looking good. Ethan glared at me. To business, Tuxdude extended his arm. I am Prometheus. Oh, crap. I know about Prometheus. Bye. Maybe I'll catch you later. Hopefully you do. What's a joke? The carrots thing? I'm pretty sure carrots are bad for rabbits. I've not. Oh, yeah. Okay. But yeah, hopefully you can catch us later, Jonathan. I'll see you, man. It's always nice having you. But I know about Prometheus, and I know he's freaking cool. I was too surprised to shake the fire stealer guy. The chain to the rock with the vultures guy. Prometheus winced. He touched the scratches on his face. Please don't mention the vultures. But yes, I stole fire from the gods and gave it to your ancestors. In return, the ever merciful Zeus had me chained to a rock and tortured for all eternity. But how did I get free? Hercules did that eons ago. So you see, I have a soft spot for heroes. Ooh, that's cool. I love that he's a soft spot for heroes. Some of you can be quite civilized. Unlike the company you keep. Interesting. I have a soft spot for heroes. That's cool. I noticed. I was looking at Ethan, but Prometheus apparently thought I meant the Imposa. Oh, demons aren't so bad, he said. You just have to keep them well fed. 1 second. Now, Percy Jackson, let us parley. He waved me toward a picnic and we sat down. Thalia and Grover stood behind me. The blue giant propped his white flag against a tree and began absently playing on the playground. He stepped on the monkey bars and crushed them, but he didn't seem angry. He just frowned and said, "Uh-oh." Then he stepped in the fountain and broke the concrete bowl in half. Uh-oh. The water froze where his foot touched it. A bunch of stuffed animals hung from his belt, the huge kind you got from grand prizes at an arcade. He reminded me of Tyson, and the idea of fighting him made me sad. Prometheus sat forward and raised his fingers. He looked earnest and kindly and wise. Percy, your position is weak. You know you can't stop another assault. Crap. Burping. Again. It's the worst. We'll see. Prometheus looked pained, like he really cared about what happened to me. Percy, I am the Titan of forethought. I know what's going to happen. Well, forethought, not foresight. You don't know what's going to happen. I guess you could have a good idea. Also the Titan of crafty counsel, Grover put in. Emphasis on crafty. Prometheus shrugged. True enough, Satyr, but I supported the gods in the last war. I told Kronos you don't have the strength. You'll lose, and I was right. So you see, I know how to pick the winning side. Ooh, that's raising the stakes. This time, I'm backing Kronos. Because Zeus chained you to a rock, I guess? Partly, yes. I won't deny I want revenge. But that's not the only reason I'm supporting Kronos. It's the wisest choice. I'm here because I thought you might listen to reason. He drew a map on the table with his finger. Wherever he touched, golden lines appeared glowing on the concrete. This is Manhattan. We have armies here, 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 and here. We know your numbers. We outnumber you 20 to 1. Yeah, but Percy did just kind of effortlessly whip through 200 of your soldiers, so that kind of might not matter, to be completely honest. Especially when Thalia and Nico get on the scene, bro. Like, that might not be an issue. Your spy's been keeping you posted, I guess. Prometheus smiled apologetically. At any rate, our forces are growing daily. Tonight, Kronos will attack. You will be overwhelmed. You fought bravely. There's just no way you could hold all of Manhattan. You'll be forced to retreat to the Empire State Building. There, you will be destroyed. I have seen this. It will happen. I thought about the picture Rachel had drawn in my dreams. An army at the base of the Empire State Building. I remembered the words of the young girl Oracle in my dream. I foresee the future. I cannot change it. Prometheus spoke with such certainty it was hard not to believe him. I won't let it happen, I said. Prometheus brushed a speck off his tux lapel. Understand, Percy. You are refighting the Trojan War here. Patterns repeat themselves in history. They reappear just as monsters do. A great siege, 2 armies. The only difference is this time you are defending. You are Troy. And you know what happened to the Trojans, don't you? So you're gonna cram a wooden horse into an elevator at the Empire State Building? I asked. Good luck. Prometheus smiled. Troy was completely destroyed, Percy. You don't want that to happen here. Stand down. New York will be spared. Your forces will be granted amnesty. I will personally assure your safety. Let Kronos take Olympus. Who cares? Typhon will destroy the gods anyway. Right, I said. I'm supposed to believe Kronos would spare the city. All he wants is Olympus, Prometheus promised. The might of the gods is tied to their seats of power. You saw what happened to Poseidon once his undersea palace was attacked. I winced, remembering how old and decrepit my father looked. Dang. I mean, this is a good deal, but don't take it, Percy. I wonder if it's ever going to be addressed, the thing that we're talking, that they brought up last book, where it's like, are you fighting for the gods because their side is right, or are you fighting for the gods because they're your family? I wonder if that's ever going to come back into a thing. Like the question of, like, why you're fighting for the side you're fighting for. Yes, Prometheus said sadly. I know that was hard for you. When Kronos destroys Olympus, the gods will fade. They will become so weak, they will be easily defeated. Kronos would rather do this while Typhon has the Olympians distracted in the west. Much easier, fewer lives lost. But make no mistake, the best you can do is slow us down. The day after tomorrow, Typhon arrives in New York, and you will have no chance at all. The gods and Mount Olympus will still be destroyed, but it will be much messier. Much, much worse for you and your city. Either way, the Titans will rule. Thalia pounded her fist on the table. I serve Artemis. The hunters will fight to our last breath. Percy, you're not seriously going to listen to this slimeball, are you? I figured Prometheus was going to blast her, but he just smiled. Your courage does you credit, Thalia Grace. Thalia stiffened. That's my mother's surname. I don't use it. As you wish, Prometheus said casually, but I could tell he'd gotten under her skin. I've never heard Thalia's last name before. Somehow, it made her seem almost normal, less mysterious and powerful. At any rate, the Titan said, you need not be my enemy. I have always been a helper of mankind. That's a load of Minotaur dung, Thalia said. That's the Greek way to say bullshit. That's some Thalia was just like, that's some bullshit. I love it. When mankind first sacrificed to the gods, you tricked them into giving you the best portion. You gave us fire to annoy the gods, not because you cared about us. Prometheus shook his head. You don't understand. I helped shape your nature. This is true. A wiggling lump of clay appeared in his hand. He fashioned it into a little doll with legs and arms. The lump man didn't have any eyes, but it groped around the table, stumbling over Prometheus' finger. I have been whispering in man's ear since the beginning of your existence. I represent your curiosity, your sense of exploration, your inventiveness. Help me save you, Percy. Do this, and I will give mankind a new gift, a new revelation that will move you as far forward as fire did. You can't make that kind of advance under the gods. They would never allow it. This could be a new golden age for you. Or, he made a fist and smashed the clay into a pancake. The blue giant rumbled. Uh-oh. Over at the park bench, The imposer bared her fangs in a smile. Percy, you know the Titans and their offspring are not all bad, Prometheus said. You've met Calypso. My face felt hot. That's different. How? Much like me, she did nothing wrong, and yet she was exiled forever, simply because she was Atlas's daughter. We are not your enemies. Don't let the worst happen, he pleaded. We offer you peace. I looked at Ethan Nakamura. You must hate this. I don't know what you mean. If we took this deal, you wouldn't get revenge. You wouldn't get to kill us all. Isn't that what you want? His good eye flared. All I want is respect, Jackson. The gods never gave me that. You wanted me to go to your stupid camp, spend time crammed into Hermes' cabin because I'm not important, not even recognized? That's true. He wouldn't even get his own cabin because he's a kid of a minor god. Only major god. I didn't even think about that. A lot of the kids in Hermes' cabin might be kids of minor gods as well, who don't even get their own cabin because they're not important enough to be built one. That's interesting. I didn't even think about that. That's crazy. I wonder if any of these issues brought up are going to be... Damn. Honestly, this is a really good deal. I wonder if any of these issues brought up are going to be, like, solved or anything like that. Because, like, yeah, he wouldn't get respect from the gods. He's completely right. I love how nuanced all the Titans are. Not all of them listen to Kronos or agree with him all the time. That's true. I really love the Titan characters. They have all... Atlas, Calypso, Prometheus. They've all been really cool so far. Yo, Madsen Murder, welcome in, buddy. It's been a minute since I've seen you. Yes, I am a nerd, a bookworm. I'm studious from my navel cortex to my gluteus. What the fuck are you talking about? As always, I have no idea what you're talking about, but it's nice to have you in the stream. Okay. What the fuck that I was looking at? Okay. Anyways, let's get back to this. Where was I? Okay. Oh, it's getting so good. This is such a great dialogue. This is such a great conversation. He sounded just like Luke when he tried to kill me in the woods at camp 4 years ago. The memory made my hand ache, where the pit scorpion had stung me. Your mom's the goddess of revenge, I told Ethan. We should respect that? Nemesis stands for balance. When people have too much good luck, she tears them down, which is why she took your eye. It was payment, he growled. In exchange, she swore to me that one day I would tip the balance of power. I would bring the minor gods respect, and I was a small price to pay. Great mom. At least she keeps her word. Unlike the Olympians, she always pays her debts, good or evil. Yeah, I said. So I saved your life and you're paying me by raising Kronos. That's fair. Ooh. Percy with the rebuttal. Ethan grabbed the hilt of his sword, but Prometheus stopped him. Ethan did not want that smoke, bro. Ethan didn't want that smoke last year. He definitely don't want that smoke now. Percy would have, it would have been so easy, bro. Percy's so much stronger than he was last year. Percy would have finessed the fuck out of you like you were about to do anything. Now, the Titan said, we're on a diplomatic mission. I really wonder if he's being honest. I wonder if Percy takes this deal if, like, Kronos is, like, being real. I really hope that he's, like, being true. Now, the Titan said, we're on a diplomatic mission. Prometheus studied me as if trying to understand my anger. Then he nodded like he just picked a thought from my brain. It bothers you. What happened to Luke, he decided. Hestia didn't show you the full story. Perhaps if you understood. The Titan reached out. Dahlia cried a warning. Before I could react, Prometheus' index finger touched my forehead. Suddenly I was back in May Castellan's living room. Candles flickering on the fireplace mantle. Reflected in the mirrors along the walls. Through the kitchen doorway, I could see Thalia sitting at the table, while Miss Castellan bandaged her wounded leg. 7-year-old Annabeth sat next to her, playing with a Medusa beanbag toy. Wait, hold on. Through the kitchen doorway, I could see Thalia sitting at the table, Miss Castellan bandaging her wounded leg. Okay. 7-year-old Annabeth, okay, cool. Hermes and Luke stood apart in the living room. The god's face looked liquid in the candlelight, like he couldn't decide what shape to adopt. He was dressed in a navy blue jogging outfit with winged Reeboks. Why show yourself now? Luke demanded. His shoulder was tense as if he expected to fight. All these years I've been calling to you, praying you'd show up, and nothing. You left me with her. He pointed toward the kitchen like he couldn't bear to look at his mother, much less say her name. Luke, do not dishonor her, Hermes warned. Your mother did the best she could. As for me, I could not interfere with your path. The children of the god must find their own way. So it was for my own good? Growing up in the streets, fending for myself, fighting monsters? You're my son, Hermes said. I knew you had the ability. When I was only a baby, I crawled from my cradle and set out for... I'm not a god! Just once you could have said something. You could have helped when... He took an unsteady breath, lowering his voice so no one in the kitchen could overhear. When she was having one of her fits. Shaking me and saying crazy things about my fate. When I used to hide in the closet so she wouldn't find me. Those glowing eyes. Did you even care that I was scared? Did you even know when I finally ran away? In the kitchen, Miss Castellan chattered aimlessly, pouring Kool-Aid for Thalia and Annabeth as she told them stories about Luke as a baby. Thalia rubbed her bandaged leg nervously. Annabeth glanced in the living room and held up a burned cookie for Luke to see. She mouthed, "Can we go?" It's really interesting that we're seeing this from this perspective. From the perspective of like Prometheus showing us. That's crazy. Great manipulation, real 10 out of 10. But you see Percy would rather hold up the sky before trusting in Kronos' mercy and honor. That's true. It's true. I reached episode 354 of One Piece. Let's go. So yes, you're past Ennie's lobby. You're in like Thriller Bark shit right now. That's dope. About to get to one of the best sagas next, the Marineford saga. I'm excited for you, dude. You're in the middle of peak, bro. What was it? Yeah. She mouthed, "Can we go now?" "Luke, I care very much," Hermes said slowly. "The gods must not interfere directly in mortal affairs. It is one of our ancient laws, especially when your destiny..." His voice trailed off. He stared at the candles as if remembering something unpleasant. "What?" Luke asked. "What about my destiny?" "You should not have come back," Hermes muttered. It only upsets you both. However, I see now that you are getting too old to be on the run without help. I'll speak with Chiron at Camp Half-Blood and ask him to send a satyr to collect you." "We're doing fine without your help," Luke growled. "Now, what were you saying about my destiny?" The wings on Hermes' Reeboks fluttered restlessly. He studied his son like he was trying to memorize his face, and suddenly a cold feeling washed through me. I realized Hermes knew what Meg Castellan's muttering meant. I wasn't sure how. Looking at his face, I was absolutely certain Hermes understood what would happen to Luke someday, how he would turn evil. "My son," he said, "I'm the god of travelers, the god of roads. If I know anything, I know that you must walk your own path, even though it tears my heart. You don't love me. I promise, I do love you. Go to camp. I will see that you get a quest soon. Perhaps you can defeat the Hydra, or steal the Apples of Hesperides. You'll get a chance to be a great hero before what?" Luke's voice was trembling now. "What did my mom see that made her like this? What's going to happen to me? If you love me, tell me." Hermes' expression tightened. "I cannot." "Then you don't care," Luke yelled. In the kitchen, the talking died abruptly. "Luke," Meg Castellan called. "Is that you? Is my boy alright?" Luke turned to hide his face, but I could see the tears in his eyes. "I'm fine. I have a new family. I don't need either of you." "I'm your father," Hermes insisted. "A father is supposed to be around. I've never met you. Thalia and Annabeth, come on, we're leaving." "My boy, don't go." Meg Castellan called after him. I have your lunch ready." Luke stormed out the door. Thalia and Annabeth scrambled after him. Meg Castellan tried to follow, but Hermes held her back. As the screen door slammed, Meg collapsed in Hermes' arms and began to shake. Her eyes opened, glowing, green, and she clutched desperately in Hermes' shoulders. "My son," she hissed in a dry voice. "Danger, terrible fate." "I know, my love," Hermes said sadly. "Believe me, I know." Thriller Bark kinda mid, not gonna lie. Thriller Bark is like a bottom tier One Piece arc, but it's still a good arc. You see, Percy would probably have accepted Prometheus' offer if Kronos wasn't famous for eating his kids for shits and giggles. That's actually facts. I'd be like, yeah, but I don't want to get eaten, so I'm good. Luke literally is just the average black kid. Bro, chill. This is actually inaccurate. What is it? All the kids of the gods are like this. It's just some of them resent their parents more than others, and some of them understand the natural order of things more than others. And I get Luke's side, I really do. But just the ancient laws prevent it. And I guess the gods are forbidden to break the ancient laws. Like even amongst all else. Like, even if the fate of the world comes to it, they can't do it for some reason. If we were going to use that logic, it applies to all half-bloods. True. The image faded. Prometheus pulled his hand away from my forehead. Percy, Thalia asked. What was that? I realized I was clammy with sweat. Prometheus nodded sympathetically. Appalling, isn't it? The gods know what is to come, yet they do nothing, even for their children. How long did it take for them to tell you your prophecy, Percy Jackson? Don't you think your father knows what will happen to you? I was too stunned to answer. Percy, Grover warned. He's playing with your mind, trying to make you angry. Also, you can't fight a prophecy. That's not how that works. The prophecy, the more you fight the prophecy, the more likely it is to come true. Right? Isn't that how that works? Grover could read emotions, so he probably knew Prometheus was succeeding. Do you really blame your friend Luke? The Titan asked me. And what about you, Percy? Will you be controlled by your fate? Kronos offers you a much better deal. I clenched my fist. As much as I hated what Prometheus had shown me, I hated Kronos a lot more. I'll give you a deal. Tell Kronos to call off his attack, leave Luke Castellan's body, and return to the pits of Tartarus. Then maybe I won't have to destroy him. Percy, bro. Can you back up that threat? Oh. The Imposa snarled. Her hair erupted in fresh flames. Prometheus just sighed. If you change your mind, he said, I have a gift for you. A Greek vase appeared on the table. It was about 3 feet high and a foot wide, glazed with black and white geometric designs. The ceramic lid was fastened with a leather harness. Grover whimpered when he saw it. Thalia gasped. That's not... Yes, Prometheus said. You recognize it. Looking at the jar, I felt a strange sense of fear, but I had no idea why. This belonged to my sister-in-law, Prometheus said. Prometheus explained, Pandora. Oh, fuck. A lump formed in my throat, as in Pandora's box. Prometheus shook his head. I don't know how this box business got started. It was never a box. It was a pithos, a storage jar. I suppose Pandora's pithos doesn't have the same ring to it. But never mind that. Yes, she did open this jar, which contained most of the demons that now haunt mankind. Fear, death, hunger, sickness. Don't forget me, the Imposa purred. Indeed, Prometheus conceded. The first Imposa was also trapped in this jar, released by Pandora. But what I find curious about the story, Pandora always gets the blame. She is punished for being curious. The gods would have you believe that this is the lesson. Mankind should not explore. They should not ask questions. They should do what they are told. In truth, Percy, this jar was a trap designed by Zeus and the other gods. It was a revenge on me and my entire family. My poor simple brother Epitheus and his wife Pandora. The gods knew she would open the jar. They were willing to punish the entire race of humanity along with us. I thought about my dream of Hades and Maria D'Angelo. Zeus had destroyed an entire hotel to eliminate 2 demigod children, just to save his own skin, because he was scared of the prophecy. He killed an innocent woman, and probably hasn't lost any sleep over it. Hades was no better. He wasn't powerful enough to take revenge on Zeus, so he cursed the oracle, dooming a young girl to a horrible fate. And Hermes, why had he abandoned Luke? Why hadn't he at least warned Luke, or tried to raise him better so he wouldn't turn evil? Maybe Prometheus was toying with my mind, but what if he's right? Part of me wondered. How are the gods any better than the Titans? Prometheus tapped the lid of the Pandora's jar. Only one spirit remained inside when Pandora opened it. Hope, I said. Ooh! Prometheus looked pleased. Very good, Percy. Elpis, the spirit of hope, will not abandon humanity. Hope does not leave without being given permission. She can only be released by a child of man. The Titan slid the jar across the table. I give you this as a reminder of what the gods are like. Keep Elpis if you wish, but if you decide that you have seen enough destruction, enough futile suffering, then open this jar. Let Elpis go. Give up hope, and I will know that you are surrendering. I promise Kronos will be lenient. He will spare the survivors. I stared at the jar and got a very bad feeling. I figured Pandora had been completely ADHD like me. I could never leave things alone. I didn't like temptation. What if this was my choice? Maybe the prophecy all came down to me, to my keeping this jar closed or opening it. I don't want the thing, I growled. Too late, Prometheus said. The gift is given. It cannot be taken back. He stood. The Imposa came forward and slipped her arm through his. Moraine, Prometheus called to the blue giant. We are leaving. Get your flag. Uh-oh, the giant said. We will see you soon, Percy Jackson, Prometheus promised, one way or another. Ethan Nakamura gave me one last hateful look. When the truce party turned and strolled up the lane through Central Park like it was just a regular sunny Sunday afternoon. This chapter was actually fucking insane for like I was wondering if the questions were gonna be brought up, and then immediately this chapter was like questions. Why are you fighting for the gods? All this shit, and it's like, fuck. Why are we fighting for the gods? Like I'm sitting here questioning. Like Percy's questioning it too. I'm sitting here questioning. Why are we fighting for the gods? Why are we fighting for the gods? That's wild. So the things that are attached to humanity are in the jar, right? I didn't fully understand that. The things that are attached to humanity are in the jar, and the things that are like plaguing humanity, or like the issues that humanity is facing, are outside the jar. So if he opens the jar, then hope will be turned into something evil. Is that what it is? I'm really confused. I'm sure the ancient ones don't say the gods have to be shitty parents. They just said they can't be too overbearing in their kids' lives. Probably, yeah. Well, I mean, Luke just breaks the law. He's very athletic and uses weapons at a young age. That's why he's the average bro, what the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? That's just not true. That's just not true. That chapter was... That might be the best chapter in the entire book so far. I literally just said that the bridge one was great, but then this chapter was also great, raising the questions that I wanted to be raised. That I was like, did Rick forget about this? But no, he didn't. He brought it back. He's like, Percy, why are you fighting? You're questioning him. Why are you fighting? What does being a hero really mean? Like, what does fighting for the gods really mean? That's so good. On an unrelated note, I'm really hungry, but I'll deal with that later. If I remember correctly, the original story is that all the evils of the world are sealed in the jar, but just in case it ever opens to make sure all is not lost, they also put hope in the jar. Interesting. Interesting. So, but hope didn't escape? Hope is not... Hope fried chicken is dope. Hope is not the feeling that, like, I assume, like, since... to me, it would only make sense that, like, since hope is in the jar, hope is not with humanity. But it says hope is staying in the jar. So... yeah, I'm kind of confused. It's saying that everything but hope was released, right? Because the spirit of hope never gave up on humans. But it's Anthony's saying that it's like, just in case it ever opens, they put hope in the jar to make sure all is not lost. So if fear is in the jar, it's like, what is it? If fear is in the jar, then it is not... Like, I'm trying to understand how that works. If fear is in the jar, then it's not doing anything to humans. But since fear is outside the jar, then it is affecting them. But hope is still in the jar, so why is hope affecting humans? I'm kind of... Maybe I didn't understand that properly. But I didn't. That didn't fully make sense. I get the idea of how they're trying to do it. Like, I get the basics of it. Like, but it doesn't make sense how, like, the math isn't mathing, as the kids say. So yeah, if you could, somebody please explain that to me, because I have no idea what the fuck, even. But yeah. Good chapter. I'm not gonna wait for that explanation. If somebody wants to give it, they can. But we will continue. I always thought that if all is lost, we still have hope. Yeah, I get that. No, I get it. But shouldn't that mean hope leaves? I do question what exactly is hope in this instance, because we experience hope as a concept, but if it is sealed away, maybe hope is a power or a Zenkai boost, possibly. Maybe it's a thing of like you have to find hope where there is none. It's like, hold on, maybe we have to explain. Hold on. Actually, what I might do. Give me a second. I'm gonna look up this really quickly. Like the story of Pandora. Story of Pandora's box summary. Pandora is given a jar or a box and is told never to open it. Hermes brings Pandora to the brother of Prometheus to be his wife. Pandora's curiosity compels her to open the forbidden box, and untold numbers of evils and miseries are unleashed into the world. What does Pandora's box try and teach us? Whether the box teaches the importance of self-control and the consequences of giving into curiosity. The origin stories from the Bible and Greek mythology offer valuable lessons. Okay, hold on. What does Pandora's box have to do with hope? It contained all evils of the world, which were released when Pandora opened the box. However, it also contained hope, which remained inside the box. Symbolically, the box represents the curiosity and desire for knowledge that can lead to both negative and consequences and positive consequences. It is about embracing hope as a catalyst for change, encouraging us to strive for better regardless of the outcomes. Hold on. Yeah, explain this to me, medium.com. The last evil in Pandora's box, hope, was it a blessing or a curse? Here I think more about hope, and how we can reframe it to unleash its power. Mythology, That wasn't that twist. Some see hope as a divine gift left behind, a comforting presence that helps us bear the trials, tribulations that spill from Pandora's curiosity. It serves us to comfort life's changes, to endure, to dare to dream to brighter days. The view aligns with our usual understanding of hope, a lifeline, a spark that can see through the darkest nights. There's another interpretation, one that paints hope as the ultimate evil. Was hope left in the box not as a blessing but as a final curse, offering the illusion of comfort while keeping us in perpetual longing. And when our dreams shatter, plunging us into fear, this perspective echoes. Oh, I think I get it. Should I name my dog Chopper? Yes. I think I get it. I think what they're trying to say is that, like, these things have always existed, right? Fear and everything has always existed. But when the box opened, it plagued mankind. Like those things took over the psyche of mankind. Like, everybody experiences fear. Everybody experiences longing and hunger and all this shit. But everybody does not always experience hope. Like, you have to find hope. It's still in the box. And if you can find hope, then you're strong. I think that's what it's trying to say. Maybe. But alright. Let me take one more swig of this orange juice. Not orange juice, but it is the color orange. And we'll get into this second chapter for the day. Okay. Chapter 14. Come on, moving fan. It is now too cold. Pigs fly. Not when pigs fly. They just do, I guess. Back at the plaza, Thalia pulled me aside. What did Prometheus show you? Reluctantly, I told her about the vision to make Stalin's house. Thalia rubbed her thigh like she was remembering the old wound. That was a bad night, she admitted. Annabeth was so little. I don't think she really understood what she saw. She just knew Luke was upset. I looked out the hotel windows at the Central Parks. This is Central Park. Small fires were still burning in the north, but otherwise the city seemed unnaturally peaceful. Do you know what would happen to make Stellan? I mean, I know what you mean, Thalia said. I never saw her have an episode, but Luke told me about the glowing eyes, the strange things she would say. He made me promise to never tell what caused it. I have no idea if Luke knew. He never told me. Hermes knew, I said. Something caused May to see parts of Luke's future, and Hermes understood what would happen, how Luke would turn into Kronos. Thalia frowned. You can't be sure of that. I remember Prometheus was manipulating what you saw. Percy showing you what happened in the worst possible light. Hermes did love Luke. I could tell just by looking at his face, and Hermes was there that night because he was checking up on May, taking care of her. He wasn't all bad. It's still not right, I insisted. Luke was just a little kid. Hermes never helped, never stopped him from running away. Thalia shouldered her bow. Again, it struck me how much stronger she looked, now that she'd stopped aging. You could almost see a silvery glow around her, the blessing of Artemis. Percy, she said, you can't start feeling sorry for Luke. Y'all have tough times to deal with. All demigods do. Our parents are hardly ever around, but Luke made bad choices. Nobody forced him to do that. In fact, she glanced down the hall to make sure we were alone. I'm worried about Annabeth. If she has to face Luke in battle, I don't know if she can do it. She's always had a soft spot for him. Blood rose to my face. She'll be fine. I don't know. After that night, after he left his mom's house, Luke was never the same. He got reckless and moody, like he had something to prove. By the time Grover found us and tried to get us to camp, but part of the reason we had so much trouble was because Luke wouldn't be careful. He wanted to pick a fight with every monster we crossed. Annabeth didn't see that as a problem. Luke was her hero. She only understood that his parents had made him sad, and she got very defensive of him. She still is defensive. All I'm saying, stretch my neck a bit. All I'm saying, don't you fall into the same trap. Luke has given himself to Kronos now. You can't afford to be soft on him. I looked out at the fires in Harlem, wondering how many sleeping mortals were in danger right now because of Luke's bad choices. You're right, I said. Thalia patted my shoulder. I'm going to check on the hunters. They get some more sleep before nightfall. You should crash too. The last thing I need is more dreams. I know, believe me. The dark expression made me wonder what she'd been dreaming about. It was a common demigod problem. The more dangerous the situation became, the worse and more frequent our dreams got. But Percy, there's no telling when you'll get another chance for rest. It's going to be a long night, maybe our last night. I didn't like it, but I knew she was right. I nodded wearily and gave her Pandora's jar. Do me a favor. Lock this in the hotel vault, will you? I think I'm allergic to pithos. Thalia smiled. You got it. I found the nearest bed and passed out, but of course, sleep only brought more nightmares. Another Percy dream sequence. Let's go. Whoa, that's not the official drink of Percy Jackson. I know it isn't. But I got it and it's delicious. It's good. Don't worry, next stream the official drink will be back. It's nice seeing Percy and Thalia have a conversation without trying to kill each other. I agree. It is. I like seeing them be friends. Thalia's one of my favorite characters, so yeah. I saw the undersea palace of my father. The enemy army was closer now, entrenched only a few hundred yards outside the palace. The fortress walls were completely destroyed. The temple my dad had used as his headquarters was burning with Greek fire. I zoomed in on the armory, where my brother and some other Cyclopses were on lunch break, eating from huge jars of Skippy extra chunky peanut butter. And don't ask me how it tasted underwater, because I don't want to know. As I watched the outer wall of the armory exploded, a Cyclops warrior stumbled inside, collapsing on the lunch table. Tyson knelt down to help, but it was too late. The Cyclops dissolved into sea salt. Shit. Enemy giants moved toward the breach, and Tyson picked up the fallen warrior's club. He yelled something to his fellow blacksmith, probably "For Poseidon!" but his mouth was full of peanut butter. It sounded like "Puthbud." His brethren all grabbed hammers and chisels, yelled, "Peanut butter!" and charged behind Titans into battle. What a battle cry. BRB. Alright, see ya, Matson. Hopefully you can make it back. Then the scene shifted. I was with Ethan Nakamura at the enemy camp. What I saw made me shiver, partly because the army was so huge, partly because I recognized the place. We were in the background of New Jersey, on a crumbling road lined with rundown businesses and tattered billboard signs. A treble fence ringed a big yard full of cement statuary. The sign above the warehouse was hard to reread because it was in red cursive, but I knew what it said: Auntie M's Garden Gnome Emporium. Oh shit. We're bringing Medusa back? I was wondering if she'd ever come back. I hadn't thought about the place in years. It was clearly abandoned. The statues were broken and spray painted with graffiti. A cement satyr, Grover's Uncle Ferdinand, had lost his arm. Part of the warehouse roof had caved in. A big yellow sign passed on the door read, "Condemned." Hundreds of tents, fires surrounded the property. Mostly I saw monsters, but there were some human mercenaries in combat fatigues and demigods in armor too. A purple and black banner hung outside the Emporium, guarded by two huge blue Hyperboreans. Ethan was crouched at the nearest campfire. A couple of other demigods sat with him, sharpening their swords. The doors of the warehouse opened and Prometheus stepped out. "Nakamura," he called. "The master would like to speak to you." Ethan stood warily. "Something wrong?" Prometheus smiled. "You'll have to ask him." One of the other demigods snickered. "Nice knowing ya." Ethan readjusted his sword belt and headed into the warehouse. Except for the hole in the roof, the place was just as I remembered. Statues of terrified people stood frozen in mid-scream. In the snack bar area, the picnic tables had been moved aside. Right between the soda dispenser and pretzel warmer stood a golden throne. Kronos lounged on it, his scythe across his lap. He wore jeans and a t-shirt, and with his brooding expression, he looked almost human, like the younger version of Luke I'd seen in the vision. Pleading with Hermes to tell him his fate. Then Luke saw Ethan, and his face contorted into a very inhuman smile. His golden eyes glowed. "Well, Nakamura, what did you think of the diplomatic mission?" Ethan hesitated. "I'm sure Prometheus is better suited to speak, but I asked you." Ethan's good eye darted back and forth, noting the guards that stood around Kronos. I don't think Jackson will surrender. Ever." Kronos nodded. "Anything else you wanted to tell me?" "No, sir." "You look nervous, Ethan." "No, sir, it's just... I heard this was the lair of Medusa?" "Yes, quite true. Lovely place, eh? Unfortunately, Medusa hasn't reformed since Jackson killed her." "Oh, dang." "So you needn't worry about joining her collection. Besides, there are much more dangerous forces in this room." Kronos looked over at the Lynx-Dragonian giant, who was munching noisily on some french fries. Kronos waved his hand, and the giant froze. A french fry hung suspended in midair halfway between his hand and his mouth. "Why turn them to stone?" Kronos asked, "when you can freeze time itself?" Fuck, he's so cool. God, he's such a cool villain. The power to freeze time is crazy. His golden eyes bored into Ethan's face. "Now tell me one more thing. What happened last night on the Williamsburg Bridge?" Ethan trembled. Beads of perspiration were popping up on his forehead. I don't know, sir." "Yes, you do." Kronos rose from his seat. "When you attacked Jackson, something happened. Something was not quite right. The girl Annabeth jumped in your way. She wanted to save him, but he's invulnerable," Kronos said quietly. "You saw that yourself." "I can't explain it. Maybe she forgot." "She forgot," Kronos said. "Yes, that must have been it." "Oh dear, I forgot my friend is invulnerable and took a knife for him. Oops." "Tell me, Ethan." Dang, Kronos is sassy. Kronos is sassing this man. "Tell me, Ethan, where were you aiming when you stabbed Jackson?" "Oh, no. You forgot. Ethan, you forgot. Chill, fam. It's okay. We don't need to know. We don't need this. We don't need this. We're all good. We're all good. Trust. It's fine." Ethan frowned. He clasped his hand as if he were holding a blade and mimed the thrust. "I'm not sure. It all happened so fast. I wasn't aiming for any spot in particular." Curtis's fingers tapped the blade of his scythe. "I see," he said in a joey tone. "If your memory improves, I will expect." Suddenly the Titan Lord winced. The giant in the corner unfroze and the french fry fell into his mouth. Kronos stumbled backward and sank into his throne. "My lord?" Ethan's Ethan started forward. The voice was weak, but just for a moment it was Luke's. Then Kronos' expression hardened. He raised his hand and flexed his fingers slowly as forcing him to obey. It is nothing, he said, his voice steely and cold again, a minor discomfort. Ethan moistened his lips. He's still fighting you, isn't he? Luke. Nonsense, Kronos spat. Repeat that lie and I will cut out your tongue. The boy's soul has been crushed. I am simply adjusting the limits of this form. It requires rest. It is annoying, but no more than a temporary inconvenience. As you say, my lord. You, Kronos pointed aside at a Dracane with green armor and a green crown. Queen Cess, is it? Yes, my lord. Is our little surprise ready to be unleashed? The Dracane queen bared her fangs. Oh yes, my lord. Quite a lovely surprise. Excellent, Kronos said. Tell my brother Hyperion. Ooh, Hyperion. I know his name only because he's a Marvel superhero. Tell my brother Hyperion to move our main force south into Central Park. The Half-Bloods will be in such disarray. They will not be able to defend themselves. Go now, Ethan. Work on improving your memory. We will talk again when we have taken Manhattan. Ethan bowed, and my dream shifted one last time. I saw the big house at camp, but it was a different era. The house was painted red instead of blue. The campers down at the volleyball pit had early 90s hairstyles, which are probably good for keeping monsters away. The shade is crazy. Chiron stood by the porch, talking to Hermes, and a woman holding a baby. Chiron's hair was shorter and darker. Hermes wore his usual jogging suit with its winged high tops. The woman was tall and pretty. She had blonde hair, shining eyes, and a friendly smile. The baby in her arms squirmed in his blue blanket like Camp Half-Blood was the last place he wanted to be. It's an honor to have you here, Chiron told the woman. Though he sounded nervous, it's been a long time since a mortal was allowed at camp. Don't encourage her, Hermes grumbled. May, you can't do this. With a shock, I realized I was seeing May Castellan. Crap. To be fair, that is pretty much what happened since Anna didn't know where Percy's mortal spot is. This is true, but Anna was like, she said something like, I just felt you were in danger, so her wisdom senses were kicking in. Her Annabeth senses, if you will. He was onto something though. Like, he's like, daughter of wisdom, forgetting, Percy's invincible. He was definitely onto that. Shit. With a shock, I realized I was seeing May Castellan. She looked nothing like the woman I'd met. She seemed full of life, the kind of person who could smile and make everyone around her feel good. Oh, don't worry so much, May said, rocking the baby. Wait, did May try to take the place of the last oracle who Hades cursed, and then she got fucked up? Is that what happened? May said, rocking the, you need an oracle, don't you? The old one's been dead for what, 20 years? Longer, Chiron said gravely. Hermes raised his arms in exasperation. I didn't tell you that story so you could apply. It's dangerous, Chiron. Tell her. It is, Chiron warned. For many years I have forbidden anyone from trying. We don't know exactly what's happened. Humanity seems to have lost the ability to host the oracle. We've been through that, May said, and I know I can do it. Hermes, this is my chance to do something good. I've been given the gift of sight for a reason. Yeah. She tried and Hades' curse fucked with her. Shit. I wanted to yell at May Castellan to stop. I knew it was about to happen. I finally understood how her life had been destroyed, but I couldn't move or speak. Hermes looked more hurt than worried. You couldn't marry if you became the oracle, he complained. You couldn't see me anymore. May put her hand on his arm. I can't have you forever, can I? You'll move on soon. You're immortal. He started to protest, but she put her hand on his chest. You know it's true. Don't try to spare my feelings. Besides, you have a wonderful child. I can still raise Luke from the oracle, right? Chiron coughed. Yes, but in all fairness, I don't know how that will affect the spirit of the oracle. A woman who has already born a child. As far as I know, this has never been done before. If the spirit does not take, it will, May insisted. No, I wanted to shout. It won't. Dude, usually in stories and like anime and stuff like that, when a character is so sure, so certain, shit just works. But it's so tragic to see May being like, it will work, believe me. And that shit's not about to work. May Castell kissed her baby and handed the bundle to Hermes. I'll be right back. She gave them one last confident smile and climbed the steps. Carrot and Hermes paced in silence. The baby squirmed. Hold on. But also, this proves that people can come into the... Actually, there wasn't a barrier at that time, so never mind. Carrot and Hermes paced in silence. The baby squirmed. A green glow lit the windows of the house. The camper stopped playing volleyball and set up at the attic. A cold wind rushed through the strawberry fields. Hermes must have felt it too. He cried, "No! No!" He shoved the baby into Iron's arms and ran for the porch. Before he reached the door, the sunny afternoon was shattered by May Castellan's terrified scream. I sat up so fast, hitting my head on somebody's shield. Ow! Sorry, Percy. Annabeth was standing over me. I wished about to wake you. Fuck. That's terrible. That's actually terrible. I rubbed my head, trying to clear the disturbing visions. Suddenly, a lot of things made sense to me. May Castellan had tried to become the Oracle. She had known about Hades' curse preventing the spirit of Delph from taking another host. Neither had Chiron or Hermes. They hadn't realized that by trying to take the job, May would be driven mad, plagued with fits in which her eyes would glow green. She would have shattered glimpses of her child's future. Percy, Annabeth asked, "What's wrong?" "Nothing," I lied. What are you doing in armor? You should be resting." "Oh, I'm fine," she said, though she still looked pale. She was barely moving her right arm. That nectar and ambrosia fixed me up. Uh-huh. You can't seriously go out and fight. She offered me her good hand and helped me up. My head was pounding. Outside, the sky was purple and red. "You're going to need every person you have," she said. I just looked in my shield. "There's an army heading south into Central Park," I said. "Yeah, I know." I told her part of my dreams and left out the vision of May Castellan because it was too disturbing to talk about. I also left out Ethan's speculation about Luke fighting Kronos inside his body. I didn't want to get Annabeth's hopes up. "Do you think Ethan suspects about your weak point?" she asked. "I don't know," I admitted. "He didn't tell Kronos anything. But if he figures it out, we can't let him." "I'll bonk him on the head harder next time," I suggested. "Any idea what surprise Kronos was talking about?" She shook her head. "I didn't see anything in the shield, but I don't like surprises." "Agreed." "So," she said, "are you going to argue about me coming along?" "Nah, you just beat me up." She managed to laugh, which was good to hear. I grabbed my sword and we went to rout the troops. "Percy, don't let Annabeth get hurt again. Don't let her get stabbed again, bro. You better watch the fuck out." Thalia and the head counselors were waiting for us at the reservoir. The lights of the city were blinking on at twilight. I guess a lot of them were on automatic timers. Street lamps glowed around the shore of the lake, making the water and trees look even spookier. "They're coming," Thalia confirmed, pointing north with a silver arrow. One of the scouts just reported they've crossed the Harlem River. There was no way to hold them back. "The army," she shrugged. "It's huge." "We'll hold them at the park," I said. "Grover, you ready?" He nodded. "As ready as we'll ever be. If my nature spirits can stop them anywhere, this is the place." "Wait, what place exactly?" "Hold on. Like the city, we're blinking on toilet. Like the city, we're at a timer. Streets around the shore of the lake and making the water and trees look even spookier." "Okay. Harlem River." He nodded. "Yeah, okay. Yes, we will," said another voice. A very old, fat satyr pushed through the crowd, stumbling over his own spear. "Is it the bitch satyr?" He was dressed in wood bark armor that only covered half of his belly. "Yep, it's him." "Lenius?" I said. "Then I'm so surprised," he yelped. "I am the leader of the council, and you did tell me to find Grover. Well, I found him, and I'm not going to let a mere outcast with the satyrs without any help." Behind Lenius' back, Grover made gagging motions. But the old satyr grinned like he was the savior of the day. "Never fear. We'll show those titans. Let's go, satyrs." Bruck it up. I didn't know whether to laugh or be angry, but I managed to keep a straight face. Yeah. Well, Grover, you won't be alone. Annabeth and the Athena captain will make their stand here, and me and Thalia." She patted me on the shoulder. "Say no more. The hunters are ready." I looked at the other counselors. "That leaves the rest of you with a job just as important. You have to guard the other entrances to Manhattan. You know how tricky Kronos is. He'll hope to distract us with the big army and sneak another force in somewhere else. It's up to you to make sure that doesn't happen. Has each cabin chosen a bridge or tunnel? The counselors nodded grimly. Then let's do it, I said. Good hunting, everybody. We heard the army before we saw it. The noise was like a cannon barrage combined with the football stadium crowd. Like every Patriots fan in New England was charging with us with bazookas. At the north end of the reservoir, the enemy vanguard broke through the woods. A warrior in golden armor leading a battalion of Langstragonian giants with huge bronze axes. Hundreds of other monsters poured out behind them. Positions! Annabeth yelled. Her cabin mates scrambled. The idea was to make the enemy army break around the reservoir. To get to us, they'd have to follow the trails, which meant they'd be marching in narrow columns on either side of the water. At first, the plan seemed to work. The enemy divided and streamed toward us along the shore. When they were halfway across, our defenses kicked in. The jogging trail erupted in Greek fire, incinerating many of the monsters instantly. Others flailed around, engulfed in green flames. Athena campers threw grappling hooks around the largest giants and pulled them to the ground. Wait, hold on, what the fuck? Well, my brain did not register what I just read. Positions, her cabin mate scrambled. The idea was to make the army break around the reservoir. To get us, they'd have to follow the trails, which meant they'd be marching in narrow columns on the other side of the water. At first, the plan seemed to work. The enemy divided and streamed across toward us along the shore. When they were halfway across, our defenses kicked in. The jogging trail erupted in Greek fire. Okay, got you. Incinerating many monsters instantly. Others floated around, engulfed in green flames. Athena's campers threw grappling hooks around the largest giants and pulled them to the ground. In the woods on the right, the hunters sent a volley of silver arrows to the enemy line, destroying 20 or 30 Dracanae, but more marched behind them. A bolt of lightning crackled out of the sky. Let's go, Thalia! And crackled and fried a Langstragonian giant to ashes, and I knew Thalia must be doing her daughter of Zeus thing. Let's go, you'll have to freaking say it. Grover raised his pipes and played a quick tune. A roar went up from the woods. Both sides, every tree, rock, and bush seemed to sprout a spirit. Dryads and satyrs raised their clubs and charged. The trees wrapped around the monsters, strangling them. Grass grew around the feet of the enemy archers. Stones flew up and hit Dracanae in the face. The enemy slogged forward. Giants smashed through the trees, and the naiads faded as their life sources were destroyed. Hellhounds lunged as the timber wolves knocking them aside. Enemy archers returned fire, and a hunter fell from a high branch. Dang, hold on. Wait, what the fuck? Sorry, my brain is like not registering some of these words I'm reading. Dryads raised their clubs. The trees wrapped around the monsters, strangling them. Grass grew around the feet of the enemy archers. Stones flew up and hit Dracanae. Okay, so they're basically getting jumped. They're getting nature jumped right now. Nature is jumping the fuck out of these people. The enemy slogged forward. Giants smashed through the trees, and naiads faded as their life sources were destroyed. Okay, and then they're fucking them back up. Yeah, my brain did not register that. I gotta brain remember to imagine as you read. Hellhounds lunged as the timberwolves, knocking them aside. Enemy archers returned fire, and a hunter fell from the high branch. Okay, so we're getting our ass beat back. Percy, Annabeth grabbed my arm and pointed at the reservoir. The Titan in gold armor wasn't waiting for his forces to advance around the sides. He was charging toward us, walking straight over the top of the lake. Dang, they can walk on water? Can Percy walk on water? I don't think he's ever tried. Actually, I think he can, actually. I think he has tried and seen monsters. A Greek firebomb exploded on the top of him, but he raised his palm and sucked the flames out of the air. Hyperion, Annabeth said in awe. The Lord of Light, Titan of the East. Bad, I guess. Next to Atlas, he's the greatest Titan warrior in the old days. 4 Titans controlled the 4 corners of the world. Hyperion was the East, the most powerful. He was the father of Helios, the first sun god. I'll keep him busy, I promised. Percy, even you can't. Just keep our forces together. We'd set up at the reservoir for a good reason. I'd concentrated on the water and felt this power surging through me. I advanced toward Hyperion, running over the top of the water. Oh, what? They immediately answered my question. Percy can run on water. Let's freaking go. I advanced toward Hyperion, running over the top of the water. Yeah, buddy, I too could play that game. Oh, this is so hype. 20 feet away, Hyperion raised his sword. His eyes just like I'd seen in my dream. As gold as Kronos' Kronos' butt brighter, like miniature suns. The sea gods, brat, he mused. You're the one who trapped Atlas beneath the sky again. Ooh, I love how people I love that. I don't know, it's just so cool. People call him the sea gods, brat. That's just cool. It wasn't hard, I said. You Titans are about as bright as my gym socks. Hyperion snarled. You want bright? No, he doesn't. That was actually a joke. We were joking. Hold on. Man, Annabeth really had a spider sense for when her man was in danger. She really did. She came in clutch with that. All the times we have heard about how dangerous it was to talk to the Oracle, how it could drive you insane, was because of what happened to May. Yeah. Oof. That's crazy. Ooh, man, that's wild. That everything that happened with May was because of May. And it's like, yeah, people are still scared to talk to the Oracle because like a dead person wakes the fuck up and tells you how you're gonna fucking survive the next week. Like, that's creepy as fuck to anybody. But like somebody who tries to take the place of that person, in their curse, yeah, that's fucked up. Hyperion snarled. You want bright? His body ignited in a column of light and heat. I looked away, but I was still blinded. Instinctively, I raised Riptide, just in time. Hyperion's blade slammed against mine. The shockwave was a 10-foot ring of water across the surface of a lake. Oh, fuck. That's the most anime shit I've ever heard. My eyes still burned. I had to shut off his light. I concentrated on the tidal wave and forced it to reverse. Just before impact, I jumped upward on a jet of water. Ah! The wave smashed into Hyperion, and he went under, his light extinguished. I landed on the lake's surface as Hyperion struggled to his feet. His golden armor was dripping wet. His eyes no longer blazed. They still looked murderous. You will burn, Jackson, he roared. Our swords met again. In the air charged with ozone. The battle still raged around us. On the right flank, Annabeth was leading an assault with her siblings. On the left flank, Grover and his nature spirits were regrouping, entangling the enemies with bushes and weeds. Bro, these fights are gonna be so cool in live action. I hope Disney gives them the proper budget they deserve. Like, the first season already had a good budget. It's gonna get more of a budget than the subsequent seasons, but this season really needs to go freaking hard. This war would go crazy. Like, this multiple episodes long war. Man, it'd be so insane. That's something that really doesn't happen in TV, like, or in anything that's not anime. Like, Game of Thrones only had like 1 episode long war scenes. Like, but this war would be like a whole season of show. So that'd be really cool. I don't know. I can't think of any show that's ever done that before. Like, multiple episodes long war shit. The battle still rages around us. On the right flank, Annabeth was leading an assault with her siblings. On the left flank, Grover and his nature spirits were regrouping, entangling the enemies with bushes and weeds. Enough games, Hyperion told me. We fight on land. I was about to make some clever comment like, no, when the Titan yelled. A wall force slammed me through the air, just like the trick Kronos had pulled on the bridge. I sailed backward about 300 yards and smashed into the ground. If it hadn't been for my new vulnerability, I would have broken every bone in my body. Yeah, now Percy can fight just like an anime protagonist. I got to my feet, groaning. I really hate it when you Titans do that. Hyperion closed on me with blinding speed. I concentrated on the water, drawing straight from it. Hyperion attacked. He was powerful and fast. He couldn't seem to land a blow, or you just can't feel them because you're invulnerable. The ground around his feet kept erupting in flames, but I kept dousing it just as quickly. Stop! The Titan roared. Stop that wind! I wasn't sure what he meant. I was too busy fighting. Hyperion stumbled like he was being pushed away. Water sprayed his face, stinging his eye. The wind picked up, and Hyperion staggered backward. Percy! Grover called in amazement. How are you doing that? Doing what? I thought. Then I looked down, and I realized I was standing in the middle of my own personal hurricane. Clouds of water vapor swirled around me. Winds so powerful, they buffeted Hyperion and flattened the grass in a 20-yard radius. Enemy warriors threw javelins at me, but the storm knocked them aside. Sweet, I muttered, but a little more. Lightning flickered around me, the clouds darkened, and the rain swirled faster. I closed in on Hyperion and blew him off his feet. How are you making lightning, Percy? Percy, Grover called again. Bring him over here. I slashed and jabbed, letting my reflexes take over. Hyperion could barely defend himself. His eyes kept trying to ignite, but the hurricane quenched his flames. I couldn't keep up a storm like this forever, though. I could feel my powers weakening. With one last effort, I repelled Hyperion across... Yeah, is Poseidon the god of storms? Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I feel my powers weakening. With one last effort, I repelled Hyperion across the field, straight to where Grover was waiting. I will not be twiddled with, Hyperion bellowed. He managed to get to his feet again, but Grover put his reed pipes to his lips and began to play. Linnaeus joined him. Around the grove, every satyr took up the song, an eerie melody like a creek flowing over stones. The ground erupted on Hyperion's feet. Gnarled roots wrapped around his legs. What's this? He protested. He tried to shake off the roots, but he was still weak. The roots thickened until he looked like he was wearing wooden boots. Stop this, he shouted. Your woodland magic is no match for a titan. But the more he struggled, the faster the roots grew. They curled around his body, saying they're no match, as they're clearly trapping you is hilarious. The more he struggled, the faster the roots grew. They curled about his body, thickening and hardening into bark. His golden armor melted into the wood, becoming part of a large trunk. The music continued. Hyperion's voice backed up in astonishment. As their leader was absorbed, he stretched out his arms and they became branches, from which smaller branches shot out and grew leaves. The tree grew taller and thicker until only the Titan's face was visible in the middle of the trunk. You cannot imprison me, he bellowed. I am Hyperion. I am... The bark closed over his face. Grover took his pipes from his mouth. You are a very nice maple tree. Damn, Grover. Talk about a mage. That's crazy. There. Let's talk about how self-fulfilling the prophecy is. So the Oracle gives the great prophecy. So Zeus killed Maria D'Angelo while trying to kill Nico and Bianca to stop the prophecy. Then Hades curses the... Yeah, Earthshaker, Stormbringer. Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Stormbringer. That's crazy. It's crazy that Percy can... It's crazy that Percy can do things with lightning too. Definitely not to control it to the extent that Thalia can, but that he can summon storms is awesome. Hades cursed the Oracle to never pass the spirit of Delphi, so when Megastellan tries to take the spirit, she's driven mad, causing him to grow up with his mom, scarring him until he runs away and siding with Kronos, causing the war of the prophecy warned of. Yeah. It's hilarious that if the gods had simply done nothing, they would not be in this predicament. But like they said, the harder you fight against the prophecy, the more it will come. The more likely it is to come true. That's honestly crazy. Several of the other satyrs passed out from exhaustion, but they'd done their job well. The Titan Lord was completely encased in an enormous maple. The trunk was at least 20 feet in diameter. The branches as tall as any in the park. The tree might have stood there for centuries. The Titan's army started to retreat. A cheer went out. There's no way Hyperion's going to stay there. From the Athena cabin, but our victory was short-lived because just then, Kronos unleashed his surprise. Reet! The squeal echoed through the upper Manhattan. Demigods and monsters like frozen terror. Grover shot me a panicked look. Like, why does that sound like it can't be? There's no way. Is Kronos using panic right now? I knew what he was thinking. 2 years ago, we'd gotten a gift from Pan, a huge boar that carried us across the Southwest. After it tried to kill us, the boar had a similar squeal. What we were hearing now seemed higher pitched, shriller, almost like if the boar had an angry girlfriend. Reed! A huge pink creature soared over a reservoir. A Macy's Thanksgiving Parade nightmare blimp with wings. Oh shit. So, Emmeth cried. Take cover! Demigods scattered as the winged lady pig swooped down. Oh shit. When pigs fly, her wings were pink like a flamingo's, which matched her skin beautifully, but it was hard to think of her as cute. When her hooves slammed into the ground, barely missing from one of Anna's siblings, the pig stomped around and tore down half an acre of trees, belching a cloud of noxious gas. Then it took off again, circling around for another strike. Don't tell me that thing is from Greek mythology, I complained. Afraid so, Era said. The Cosmonian so. It terrorized Greek towns back in the day. Let me guess, I said. Hercules beat it? Nope, Era said. As far as I know, no hero has ever beaten it. Percy, time to grow your legend. Time to grow your legend. Perfect, I muttered. The Titan's army was recovering from its shock. I guess they realized the pig wasn't after them. We only had seconds before they were ready to fight, and our forces were still in panic. Every time the sow belched, Grover's nature spirits yelped and faded back into their trees. The pig has to go! I grabbed a grappling hook from one of Annabeth's siblings. I'll take care of it. You guys hold the rest of the enemy. Push them back. Percy, Grover said. What if we can't? I saw how tired he was. The magic had really drained him. Annabeth didn't look much better from the fighting, with a bad shoulder wound. I didn't know how the Hunters were doing, but the right flank of the enemy army was now between them and us. I didn't want to leave my friends in such bad shape, but that so was the biggest threat. It would destroy everything. Buildings, trees, sleeping mortals, it had to be stopped. Retreat if you need to, I said. Just slow them down. I'll be back as soon as I can. Before I could change my mind, I swung the grappling hook like a lasso. When the sow came down for its next pass, I threw with all my strength. The hook wrapped around the base of the pig's wing. It squealed in rage and veered off, yanking the rope and me into the sky. If you're heading downtown for the park, my advice is to take the subway. Flying pigs are faster, but way more dangerous. The sow soared past the Plaza Hotel, straight into the canyon of 5th Avenue. My brilliant plan was to cling on the rope and get to the pig's back. Unfortunately, I was too busy swinging around and dodging street lamps and on the sides of buildings. Another thing I learned, it's one thing to climb a rope in gym class. It's a completely different thing to climb a rope attached to a moving pig's wing while you're flying at hundreds of miles an hour. We zigzagged along several blocks and continued south on Park Avenue. Boss! Hey boss! Let's go! My freaking boy! Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a blackjack speeding along next to us, darting back and forth to avoid the pig's wings. Watch out, I told him. Hop on, Blackjack whinnied. I can catch you. Probably. It wasn't very reassuring. I imagine not. Grand Central lay dead ahead. Above the main entrance stood the giant statue of Hermes, which I guess hadn't been activated because it was so high up. I was flying right toward him at the speed of demigod. At the speed of demigod smashing. Stay alert, I told Blackjack. I've got an idea. Oh, I hate your ideas. I swung outward with all my might. Instead of smashing into the Hermes statue, I whipped around it, circling the rope under its arms. I thought this would tether the pig, but I'd underestimated the momentum of a 30-ton sow in flight. Just as the pig reached the statue from its pedestal, I let go. Hermes went for a ride, taking my place as the pig's passenger, and I free fell toward the street. In a split second, I thought about the days when my mom used to work at this Grand Central candy shop. I thought about how bad it would be if I ended up as a grease spot on the pavement. Then a shadow swept under me, and the thump, I was on Blackjack's back. It wasn't the most comfortable landing. In fact, when I yelled "Ow!" my voice was an octave higher than usual. Sorry, boss, Blackjack murmured. No problem, I squeaked. Follow that pig. No problem, I squeaked. The porker had taken a right at East 42nd. It was flying back toward 5th Avenue. When it flew above the rooftops, I could see fires here and there around the city. It looked like my friends were having a rough time. Cronus was attacking on several fronts, but at the moment, I had my own problems. The Hermes statue was still on its leash. It kept bonking into buildings and spinning around. The pig swooped over an office building, and Hermes plowed into a water tower on the roof, blasting water and wood everywhere. Then something occurred to me. Get closer, I told Blackjack. He waited in protest. Just within shouting distance, I said. I need to talk to the statue. No, I'm sure you've lost it, boss, Blackjack said. But he did what I asked. When I was close enough to see the statue's face, I cruelly yelled, Hello, Hermes! Command sequence Daedalus 23. Kill flying pigs. Begin activation. Immediately, the statue moved its legs. It seemed confused that it was no longer on the top of Grand Central Terminal. It was instead being given a skyride on the end of a rope by a large winged sow. It smashed through the side of a brick building, which I think made it a little mad. It shook its head and began to climb the rope. I glanced down the street. We were coming up the main public library with the big marble lions flanking the steps. Suddenly, I had a weird thought. Could stone statues be automatons too? It seemed like a long shot. But faster, I told Blackjack. Get in front of the pig. Taunt him. Boss. Trust me, I said. I can do this. Probably. Oh, sure. Mock the horse. I love Percy and Blackjack, bro. Blackjack burst through the air. He could fly pretty well. He could fly pretty darn fast. When he wanted to. He got in front of the pig, which now had a metal Hermes on its back. Blackjack whinnied, "You smell like ham." He kicked the pig in the snout. With his back hooves, it went into a steep dive. The pig screamed in rage and followed. We barreled straight for the front of the library. Blackjack slowed down just enough for me to hop off. Then he kept flying toward the main doors. I yelled out, "Lions! Command sequence, Daedalus 23. Kill flying pigs. Begin activation." The lions stood up and looked at me. They probably thought I was teasing them, but just then, reet! The massive pink pork monster landed with a thud, cracking the sidewalk. The lions stared at it, not believing their luck, and pounced. At the same time, a very beat-up Hermes statue leaped onto the pig's head and started banging it mercilessly with the caduceus. Those lions had some nasty claws. I drew Riptide, but there wasn't much for me to do. The pig disintegrated before my eyes. I almost felt sorry for it. I hoped it got to meet the boar of its dreams down in Tartarus. When the monster had completely turned to dust, the lions and the Hermes statue looked around in confusion. "You can defend Manhattan now," I told them, but they didn't seem to hear. They went charging down Parkin Avenue, and I imagined they would keep looking for flying pigs until someone deactivated them. "Hey, boss," said Blackjack. "Can we take a donut break?" I wiped the sweat off my brow. I wish, big guy, but the fight's still going on. In fact, I could hear it getting closer. My friends needed help. I jumped on Blackjack, and we flew north toward the sound of explosions. Dang. We are an hour and a half into the stream, and I've only read 2 chapters. Shit. That was an epic fight, though. About 1,000 years from now, when demigod kids are seeing a sow again, they're going to be referencing the old mythology, being like, "Oh, so who beat the sow originally?" And they're going to be like, "Nobody." And then one of the Athena's kids, again, are going to be like, No. About 1,000 years ago, Percy Jackson beat the sow by summoning statues to fight it. And then they're going to be like, "Oh, Percy Jackson did that? Fuck." Like that's going to be like, "Let me guess. It was Hercules." It's going to be like, "Let me guess. Percy Jackson did it." Like it's going to be like, it's going to be like he's going to be the next big guy to try to live up to 1,000 years from now. I believe it. I fully believe that. That was a good little battle chapter, though. Really fun. I liked it a lot. Not much to really say about it, other than fuck Magus Stellan's whole shit up. They fucked her whole shit up, bro. I also forgot that one of Percy's titles was Stormbringer. Completely forgot that. But I love that they're keeping that consistent. Really cool. I wonder if we'll ever see Percy shake the earth. Because I don't think we've seen Percy do that yet. Unless that volcano counts. If that volcano counts, then cool. But I wonder if we'll see Percy like truly shake the earth. Like cause like an earthquake. Because we've seen Nico do that. For some reason. But we haven't seen Percy do it. I mean, God's powers are more vague than finite anyways, so it doesn't really matter if Nico does it, but I still want to see Percy do some earth shake shit. Honestly, it seems like out of all the demigods, Percy has the most powers. Like Nico can resurrect the dead, can, like make fissures in the earth and make dead armies and commune with the dead. Thalia can be aggressive and summon lightning. Percy can he can breathe underwater. He can talk to horses. He can command sea animals. He can control the ocean. He can get power from water. He can freaking walk on water. He can create storms. Percy seems to have the most powers, which is really cool. All right. Though, we need to move on. We need to move on because the faster I get done with this stream, the faster I can eat my pizza, which is what I'm hungry right now, but it's fine. I'm still enjoying this though. It is really cool. This battle is going. Like, it is going. We got 8 chapters left in this book. I am mostly done. 8 chapters to go, and I will have finished the first series. We're definitely not going to finish it in this stream, but possibly next stream. Actually, what should I ask? What's, like, like, how many chapters should the last stream be? Like, what's, like, the best chunk to go off of? Like, because, like, is it, like, the last 5 chapters, like, provides, like, is that, like, the start of the final battle, and, like, the final battle, and then, like, the conclusion in the last 5 chapters? Or, how, what's a good little finishing chunk for that? You guys let me know if you have, like, some recommendations for that. Because if it's, like, the last 6 chapters are good, then I'll read all 6 chapters in one stream. I don't have, like, a good bite-sized takeage of the shit. Alright, but anyways. Chapter 15. Chiron throws a party. My boy Chiron is about to make an entrance, and it's gonna be great. You'll have to see it. Midtown was a war zone, as well as all of Manhattan. We flew over a little skirmish everywhere. A giant was ripping up trees in Bryant Park, while Dryads pelted him with nuts. That's not doing anything. Outside the Waldorf Estonia, a bronze statue of Benjamin Franklin was whacking a hellhound with a rolled-up newspaper. A trio of Hephaestus campers fought a squad of Dracanae in the middle of a Rockefeller Center. Let's go. Come on, beat his ass. I was tempted to stop and help, but I could tell from the smoke and noise that the real action had moved farther south. Our defenses were collapsing. The enemy was closing in on the Empire State Building. We did a quick sweep of the surrounding area. Notice had set up a defensive line on 37th, just 3 blocks north of Olympus. To the east on Park Avenue, Jake Mason and some other Hephaestus campers were leading an army of statues against the enemy. To the west, the Demeter Cabin and Grover's Nature Spirits had turned 6th Avenue into a jungle that was hampering a squadron of Kronos' demigods. Interesting that demi-titans aren't a thing. That's not how I think about it. But anyways. The south was... Jake Mason and some other Hephaestus campers were leading an army of statues against the enemy. To the west, the Demeter Cabin and Grover's Nature Spirits had turned 6th Avenue into a jungle that was hampering a squadron of Kronos' demigods. Okay. Bro, New Yorkers are gonna wake up after this and be like, what the fuck happened? What the fuck? The south was clear for now, but the flanks of the enemy army were swinging around. A few more minutes and we'd be totally surrounded. We have to land where they need us most, I muttered. That's everywhere, boss. I spotted the familiar silver owl banner in the southeast corner of the fight, 33rd at Park Avenue Tunnel. Annabeth and 2 of her siblings were holding back a Hyperborean. There, I told Blackjack. He plunged toward the battle. I leaped off his bag and landed on the giant's head. When the giant looked up, I slid off his face, shield bashing his nose on the way down. I didn't know you had a shield, Percy. I thought you just had a sword on you, but cool. Roar! The giant staggered backward. Blue blood trickled from his nose. I hit the pavement. Running. The Hyperborean breathed a cloud of white mist, and the temperature dropped. The spot where I landed was now coated with ice, and I was covered in frost like a sugar donut. Hey, ugly! Annabeth yelled. I hope she was talking to the giant, not me. Blue Boy bellowed and turned toward her, exposing the unprotected back of his legs. I charged and stabbed him behind the knee. Wah! The Hyperborean buckled. I waited for him to turn, but he froze. I mean, he literally turned to solid ice from the point where I stabbed him. Cracks appeared in his body. They got larger and wider until the giant crumbled in a mountain of blue shards. Thanks, Annabeth winced, trying to catch her breath. The pig? Pork chops, I said. Let's go. Good. She flexed her shoulder. Obviously, the wound was still bothering her, but she saw my expression and rolled her eyes. I'm fine, Percy. Come on. We've got plenty of enemies left. She was right. The next hour was a blur. Next hour? I'm sorry you fought for another hour. I fought like I'd never fought before, wading into legions of Decane, taking out dozens of Telkmans with every strike, destroying Imposa and knocking out enemy demigods. No matter how many I defeated, more took their place. Annabeth and I raced from block to block, trying to shore up our defenses. Too many of our friends lay wounded in the streets. Too many were missing. As the night wore on and the moon got higher, we were backed up foot by foot until we were only a block from the Empire State Building in any direction. At one point, Grover was next to me, bonking Snake Woman over the head with his cudgel. Then he disappeared in the crowd, and it was Thalia at my side, driving the monsters back with the power of her magic shield. Miss O'Leary bounded out of nowhere. Let's go, Miss O'Leary clutch! Picked up Langstragonian Giant in her mouth and flung him into the air like a frisbee. Annabeth used her invisibility cap to sneak behind the enemy lines. Whenever a monster disintegrated for no apparent reason, with a surprised look on his face, I knew Annabeth had been there. But it still wasn't enough. Hold your lines! Katie Gardner shouted somewhere off to my left. The problem was there were too few of us to hold anything. The entrance to Olympus was 20 feet behind me. A ring of brave demigods, hunters and nature spirits guarded the doors. I slashed and hacked, destroying everything in my path. But even I was getting tired, and I couldn't be everywhere at once. Behind the enemy troops, a few blocks to the east, a bright light began to shine. I thought it was a sunrise, then I realized Kronos was riding toward us on a golden chariot. Fuck no. A dozen Langstragonian giants bore torches before him. Two Hyperboreans carried his black and purple banners. The Titan Lord looked fresh and rested, his power at full strength. He was taking his time advancing, letting me wear myself down. Annabeth appeared next to me. We have to fall back to the doorway. Hold it at all costs. She was right. I was about to order a retreat when I heard the hunting horn. The hunting horn. It cut through the noise of the battle like a fire alarm. A chorus of horns answered from all around us, echoing off the building of Manhattan. I glanced at Thalia, but she just frowned. Not the hunters, she assured me. We're all here. Then who? The horns got louder. I couldn't tell where they were coming from because of the echo, but it sounded like an entire army was approaching. I was afraid it might be more enemies, but Kronos' forces looked as confused as we were. Giants lowered their clubs, Dracene hissed, even Kronos' honor guard looked uneasy. Then to our left, 100 monsters cried out at once. Kronos' entire northern flank surged forward. I thought we were doomed, but they didn't attack. They ran straight past us and crashed into their southern allies. A new blast of horns shadowed the night. Come on, let's freaking go! Let's freaking go! The army shimmered in a blur of movement. An entire cavalry appeared as if dropping out of light speed. Yeah, baby! A voice yelled, party! A shower of arrows arced over our heads and slammed into the enemy, vaporizing hundreds of demons. But these weren't regular arrows. They made whizzy sounds as they flew, like whee! Some had pinwheels attached to them. Others had boxing gloves rather than points. Centaurs! Annabeth yelled. The party pony army exploded into our midst in a riot of colors, tie-dye shirts, rainbow afro wigs, oversized sunglasses, and war-painted faces. Some had slogans scrawled across their flanks like, horses, pone, and Kronos sucks. That's funny. Hundreds of them filled with the entire block. My brain couldn't process everything I saw, but I knew if I were the enemy, I'd be running. Percy! Chiron shouted across the sea of wild centaurs. He was dressed in armor from waist up, his bow in his hand, and he was grinning in satisfaction. Sorry we're late. Dude! Another centaur yelled. Talk later! Waste monsters now! He locked and loaded double barrel paint gun and blasted an enemy hellhound bright pink. The paint must have been mixed with celestial bronze dust or something, because as soon as it splattered the hellhound, the monster yelled and dissolved into a pink and black puddle. Party pony! The centaur yelled. South Florida! Somewhere across the battlefield, a twangy voice yelled back. Heart of Texas chapter! Let's go. Texas centaurs. Hawaii owns your faces! A third one shouted. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. The entire Titan army turned and fled, pushed back by a flood of paintball arrows and swords and Nerf baseball bats. The centaurs trampled everything in their path. Stop running, you fools, Colonel yelled. Stand and act! The last part was because of a panicked Hyperborean giant stumbled backward and sat on top of him. The Lord of Time disappeared under a giant blue butt. That's fucking hilarious. Having a quick look, 18 through 23 would be good for the last stream. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Got you. We pushed them for several blocks until Chiron yelled, "Hold! On your promise, hold!" It wasn't easy, but eventually the order got relayed up and down the ranks of centaurs, and they started to pull back, letting the enemy flee. Chiron's smart, Anna said, wiping the sweat off her face. If we pursue, we'll get too spread out. We need to regroup. But the enemy, they're not defeated, she agreed. But the dawn is coming. At least we've bought some time. I didn't like pulling back, but I knew she was right. I watched as the last of the Telconese scuttled toward the East River. Then reluctantly, I turned and headed back toward the Empire State Building. We set up a 2-block perimeter with a command tent at the entire state building. Karen informed us that the party ponies had sent chapters from almost every state in the Union. 40 from California, 2 from Rhode Island, 30 from Illinois. Roughly 500 total had answered his call. Dang! A reinforcement platoon of 500? That's crazy. But even with that many, we couldn't defend more than a few blocks. Dude, said a centaur named Larry. His teacher identified him as Big Chief Uber Guy. New Mexico chapter. That was more fun than our last convention in Vegas. Yeah, said Owen from Dakota. He wore a black leather jacket and an old World War II Army helmet. We totally wasted them. Kyron patted Owen on the back. You did well, my friends, but don't get careless. Colonel should never be underestimated. Now, why don't you visit the diner on West 33rd and get some breakfast? I heard the Delaware chapter made a stash of root beer. Found a stash of root beer. Root beer? They almost trampled each other as they galloped off. Kyron smiled. Annabeth gave him a big hug. Miss O'Leary licked his face. Ack, he gumbled. Enough of that dog. Yes, I'm glad to see you too. Kyron, thanks, I said. Talk about saving the day. I also think we should read the last 6 chapters together. I think that's the best choice too. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Okay. Then we'll do that then. Then this stream will stop at 17, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay. This stream will stop at 17, so we'll do. And the next stream will be the last one. He shrugged. I'm sorry it took so long. Centaurs travel fast, as you know. We can bend distance as we ride. Even so, getting all centaurs together was no easy task. The party ponies are not exactly organized. How'd you get through the magic defenses around the city? Anna asked. They slowed us down for a bit, Kara admitted. But I think they're intended to mostly to keep mortals out. Kronos doesn't want puny humans getting in the way of his great victory. So maybe other reinforcements can get through, I said. Karen stroked his beard. Perhaps. Though time is short. As soon as Kronos regroups, he will attack again, without the element of surprise on our side. I understood what he meant. Kronos wasn't beaten, not by a long shot. I half hoped Kronos had been squashed under the Hyperborean giant's butt, but I knew better. He'd be back tonight at the latest. And Typhon? I asked. Kronos' face darkened. The gods are tiring. Dionysus was incapacitated yesterday. Dang, not my boy Mr. D. Typhon smashed his chariot, and the wine god went down somewhere in the Appalachians. No one had seen him since. Hephaestus is out of action as well. He was thrown from the battle so hard he created a new lake in West Virginia. Ooh, dang. He will heal, but not soon enough to help. The others still fight. They've managed to slow Typhon's approach, but the monster cannot be stopped. He will arrive in New York, but by this time tomorrow. Is tomorrow Percy's birthday? Once he and Kronos combined forces, Then what chance do we have? I said. You can't hold out another day. We'll have to, Thalia said. I'll see about setting some new traps around the perimeter. She looked exhausted. Her jacket was smearing in grime and monster dust, but she managed to get to her feet and stagger off. I will help her, Kyron decided. I should make sure my brethren don't go too overboard with the root beer. I thought too overboard. Pretty much sounded the party ponies, but Kyron cantered off, leaving Annabeth and me alone. She cleaned the monster slime off my knife. I'd seen her do that hundreds of times, but I never thought about why she cared so much about that blade. The monster slime off her knife. At least your mom is okay, I offered. If you call fighting Typhon okay, she looked eyes at me. Percy, even with the centaurs helping, I'm starting to think. I know. I had a bad feeling this might be our last chance to talk, and I felt like there were a million things I hadn't told her. Listen, there were some visions Hestia showed me. You mean about Luke? Maybe it was just a safe guess, but I got the feeling Annabeth knew what I'd been holding back. Maybe she'd been having dreams of her own. Yeah, I said. You and Thalia and Luke. The first time you met. And the time you met Hermes. Annabeth slipped her knife back into its sheath. Luke promised he'd never let me get hurt, he said. He said we'd be a family, and it would turn out better than this. Her eyes reminded me of that 7-year-old girl. 7-year-old girls in the alley. Angry, scared, desperate for a friend. Thalia talked to me earlier, I said. She's afraid. That I can't face Luke, she said miserably. I nodded, but there's something else you should know. Ethan Nakamura seemed to think Luke was still alive inside his body. Maybe even fighting Kronos for control. Annabeth tried to hide it. Annabeth tried to hide it, but I could almost see her mind working on the possibilities, maybe starting to hope. I didn't want to tell you, I admitted. She looked up at the Empire State Building. Percy, for so much of my life, I felt like everything was changing all the time. I didn't have anybody I could rely on. I nodded. That was something most demigods can understand. I ran away when I was 7, she said. Then with Luke and Thalia, I thought I'd find a family, but it fell apart almost immediately. What I'm saying, I hate it when people let me down, when things are temporary. I think that's why I want to be an architect. To build something permanent, I said. A monument to last 1,000 years. She held my eyes. I guess it sounds like my fatal flaw again. Years ago, in the Sea of Monsters, Annabeth had told me her biggest flaw was pride, thinking she could fix anything. I'd seen a glimpse of her deepest desire, shown to her by the siren's magic. Annabeth had imagined her mother and father together, standing in front of a newly rebuilt Manhattan, designed by Annabeth, and Luke had been there too, good again, welcoming her home. I guess I understood how you feel, I said, but Thalia's right. Luke has always betrayed you. Has already betrayed you so many times. He was evil even before Kronos. I don't want him to hurt you anymore. Annabeth pursed her lips. I could tell she was trying not to get mad. And you'll understand if I keep hoping there's a chance you're wrong. I looked away. I felt like I'd done my best, but that didn't make me feel any better. Across the street, the Apollo campers had set up a field hospital to tend the wounded. Jesus Christ. Dozens of campers and almost as many hunters. I was watching the medics work and thinking about our slim chances for holding Mount Olympus. And suddenly, I wasn't there anymore. What the fuck? I was standing in a long, dingy bar with black walls. Neon sign. Did you pass out? Are we in a dream? What's happening? And a bunch of partying adults. A banner across the bar read, "Happy birthday, Bobby Earl." Country music played on the speakers. Big guys in jeans and work shirts out of the bar. Waitresses carried trays of drinks and shouted at each other. It was pretty much exactly the kind of place my mom would never let me go. I was stuck in the very back of the room. What the fuck is going on? Next to the bathrooms, which didn't smell so great, and a couple of antique arcade games. "Oh, good you're here," said the man at the Pac-Man machine. "I'll have a Diet Coke." He was a pudgy guy in a leopard skin Hawaiian shirt, purple shorts, and red running shoes, and black socks, which didn't exactly make him blend in with the crowd. His nose was bright red, bandage wrapped around his curly black hair. But like years recovering from a concussion. I blinked. Mr. D? No shot. Mr. D teleported you? How does that work? Okay, I can understand Clarice being too stubborn to join the fight, but not one child of Ares said, fuck it, might as well fight. Honestly, bro. I'm waiting for my girl to join. Clarice, we need you desperately. We need you so bad. Alright. What is it? He sighed, not taking his eyes from the game. Really, Peter Johnson? How long will it take for you to recognize me on sight? But as long as it'll take for you to figure out my name, I muttered. Where are we? Why Bobby Earl's birthday party? Dionysus said. Somewhere in lovely rural America. I thought Typhon swatted you out of the sky. They said you crash landed. Your concern is touching. I did crash land. Very painfully. In fact, part of me is still buried under 100 feet of rubble in an abandoned coal mine. It will be several more hours before I have enough strength to mend, but in the meantime, part of my consciousness is here. At a bar playing Pac-Man? Party time, Dionysus said. Surely you've heard of it. Wherever there is a party, my presence is invoked. Because of this, I can exist in many different places at once. The only problem was finding a party. I don't know if you're aware how serious things are outside your safe little bubble of New York. Safe little bubble? But believe me, the mortals out here in the heartland are panicking. Typhon has terrified them. Very few are throwing parties. Apparently Bobby Earl and his friends, bless them, are a little slow. That's fun. That's fucking funny. They haven't yet figured out that the world is ending. So, I'm not really here. No, in a moment I'll send you back to your normal, insignificant life, and it will be as if nothing had happened. And why did you bring me here? Dionysus snorted. Oh, I didn't want you particularly. Any of your silly heroes would do. That Annie girl, Annabeth. The point is, he said, I pulled you into party time to deliver a warning. We are in danger. Gee, I said, never would have figured that out. Thanks. I love how Percy's perfectly comfortable sassing Mr. D at this point. And Mr. D isn't stupid enough to try to kill Percy in the middle of wartime, so it's fine. Dang. This book is getting character. The bind is bending. Alright. He glared at me and momentarily forgot his game. Pac-Man got eaten by the red ghosty dude. Asakorakas! Blinky! Dionysus cursed. I will have your soul! He's a video game character, I said. That's no excuse. And you're ruining my game, Jorgensen. That's crazy. You have to try to get that bad. Jackson! Whichever. Now listen, the situation is graver than you imagine. If Olympus falls, not only will the gods fade, but everything that is connected to our legacy will also begin to unravel. The very fabric of your puny civilization. The game played along, and Mr. D progressed to level 254. Ha! He shouted. Take that, you pixelated fiends. Fabric of civilization? I prompted. Yes. Your entire society will dissolve. Perhaps not right away. Mark my words. The chaos of the Titans will mean the end of Western civilization. Art, law, wine tasting, music, video games, silk shirts, black velvet paintings, all the things that make life worth living will disappear. So why aren't the gods rushing back to help us? I said. We should combine forces at Olympus. Forget Typhon. He snapped his fingers impatiently. You forgot my Diet Coke. Gods, you're annoying. I got the attention of a waitress and ordered the stupid soda. I put it on Bobby Earl's tab. Mr. D took a long drink. His eyes never left the video game. The truth is, Pierre, Percy, the other gods would never admit this, but we actually need you mortals to rescue Olympus. You see, we are manifestations of your culture. If you don't care enough to save Olympus yourselves, like Pan, I said, depending on the satyrs to save the wild. Yes, quite. I will deny I ever said this, of course, but the gods need heroes. They always have. Otherwise, we would not keep you annoying little brats around. I feel so wanted. Thanks. That's really interesting. The gods can only maintain the world. They can't save it. Oh, that's so cool. Use the training I've given you at camp. What training? You know, all those hero techniques. And no, Mr. D slammed the game console. Nah, pare eat. The last level. He looked at me. The purple fire flickered in his eyes. As I recall, I once predicted you would turn out to be as selfish as all the other human heroes. Well, here's your chance to prove me wrong. Yeah, making you proud is real high on my list. You must save Olympus, Pedro. Leave Typhon to the Olympians and save our own seats of power. It must be done. Great. Nice little chat. Now, if you don't mind, my friends will be wondering. There is more, Mr. D warned. Kronos has not yet attained full power. The body of the mortal was only temporary measure. We kind of guessed that. And did you also guess that within a day at most, Kronos will burn away that mortal body and take on the true form of a Titan King? And that would mean... Dionysus said another quarter. You know about the true form of the gods? Yeah, you can't look at them without burning up. Kronos will be 10 times more powerful. His very presence would incinerate you, and once he achieves this, he will empower the other Titans. They are weak now, compared to what they will soon become. Unless you can stop them, the world will fall, the gods will die, and I will never achieve a perfect score on this stupid machine. Maybe I should have been terrified, but honestly, I was already about as scared as I could get. Can I go now? I asked. One last thing. My son Pollux. Is he alive? I blinked. Yeah, last I saw him. I'd very much appreciate it if you could keep him that way. I lost his brother Castor last year. I remembered. I stared at him, trying to wrap my mind around the idea that Dionysus could be a caring father. I wondered how many other Olympians were thinking about their demigod children right now. I'll do my best. Your best, Dionysus muttered. Well, isn't that reassuring? Go now. You have some nasty surprises to deal with, and I must defeat Blinky. Nasty surprises. He waved his hand, and the bar disappeared. Oh, dude. Every chapter gets more and more gets piled on to this. That's so crazy, dude. I really, really wonder how this all is going to come to a head. Because there's no way Percy's going to stop Kronos before he goes into the form, right? I figure Percy has to fight him at his full power. Just for, like, narrative climactiveness, of course. But still, like, how is that? If his mere presence will incinerate Percy even if he's immortal? Or invincible? Like, how is that gonna freaking work? Like, how is he gonna do anything? That's crazy. Nah, she just wants the badass. No, she just wants the badass showing up at the fourth quarter to save the day. But if she waits too long, we'll show up to a graveyard. Yeah, I relate. I can relate to that. Pedro Jordanson, hero of Olympus. Yes, of course. I was back on 5th Avenue. Annabeth hadn't moved. She didn't give any sign that I'd been gone or anything. She caught me staring and frowned. What? Nothing, I guess. I gazed down the avenue, wondering what Mr. D had meant by nasty surprises. How much worse could it get? My eyes rested on a beat blue car. The hood was badly dented, like somebody had tried to hammer out some huge craters. My skin tingled. Why did that car look so familiar? And I realized it was a Prius. Paul's Prius. I bolted down the street. Percy, Annabeth called. Where are you going? Paul was passed out in the driver's seat. My mom was stowing beside him. My mind felt like mush. How had I not seen them before? They'd been sitting here in traffic for over a day, the battle raging around them, and I hadn't even noticed. They must have seen those blue lights in the sky. I rattled the doors, but they were locked. I need to get them out. Percy, Anna said gently. I can't leave them here. I sounded a little crazy. I pounded on the windshield I pounded on the windshield. I had to move them. I have to... Percy, just hold on. Annabeth waved to Chiron, who was just talking to some centaurs down the block. We can push the car to a side street, all right. They're going to be fine. My hands trembled. After all I've been through over the last few days, I felt so stupid and weak. The sight of my parents made me want to break down. What? Chiron galloped over. What? Oh, what? Oh dear, I see. They were coming to find me, I said. My mom must have sensed something was wrong. Most likely, Chiron said. But Percy, they will be fine. The best thing we can do is to stay focused on our job. Then I noticed something in the back seat of the Prius, and my heart skipped a beat. Seat belted behind my mother was a black and white Greek jar about 3 feet tall. Its lid was wrapped in a leather harness. No way, I muttered. Annabeth pressed her hand to the window. That's impossible. I thought you left it at the plaza. Locked in a vault, I agreed. Chiron saw the jar and his eyes widened. That isn't Pandora's jar, I told him. How about my meeting with Prometheus? And the jar is yours, Chiron said grimly. It will follow you and tempt you to open it. No matter where you leave it, it will appear where you are weakest. Like now, I thought, looking at my helpless parents. I imagined Prometheus smiling, so anxious to help out us poor mortals. Give up hope, and I will know that you are surrendering. I promise Kronos will be lenient. Anger surged through me. I drew Riptide and cut the driver's side window like it was made of plastic. We'll put the car in neutral, I said. Push them out of the way and take the stupid jar to Olympus. Chiron nodded. A good plan. But Percy... Whatever he was going to say, he faltered. A mechanical drum beat grew loud in the distance. The chop, chop, chop of a helicopter. On a normal Monday morning in New York, this would have been no big deal, but after 2 days of silence, a mortal helicopter was the oddest thing I'd ever heard. A few blocks east, the monster army shouted and cheered as the helicopter came into view. It was a civilian model painted dark red. It's ya freaking girl! It's your girl, Rachel Elizabeth Dare. Let's freaking go. Model painted dark red with the bright green DE logo on the side. The words under the logo were too small to read, but I knew what they said. Dare Enterprises. Let's go! My throat closed up. I looked at Annabeth and could tell she recognized the logo too. Her face was red as the helicopter. What is she doing here? Annabeth demanded. How does she get through the barrier? Who? Chiron looked confused. What mortal would be insane enough? Suddenly the helicopter pitched forward. The Morpheus enchantment, Chiron said. The foolish mortal pirate is asleep. I watched in horror as the helicopter careened sideways, falling toward a row of office buildings. Even if it didn't crash, the gods of the air would probably swat it out of the sky for coming near the Empire State Building. I was too paralyzed to move, but Annabeth whistled, and Guido the Pegasus swooped out of nowhere. You rang for a handsome horse, he asked. Come on, Percy, Annabeth growled. We have to save your friend. Son of Waterman, the god of wet and smelly. Man, what an entrance by a girl. Hold on, give me a second. It's replying to a text. Hold on. All right. We are about to start chapter 16. So yeah, we got 2 more chapters left in the day. But that chapter was way longer than I thought it would be. I thought it was gonna end when Chiron showed up, but no. This whole crazy thing with Dionysus, which I love, by the way. I love Dionysus as a character. He's honestly probably top 3 gods for me at this point. Like Poseidon, Apollo, and Dionysus, I love. That's so cool. And it's also just like, why are we fighting for the gods? And Dionysus answers that question. Listen, we may suck, but if you don't fight for us, if you don't save us, your world as we know it will cease to exist. And that is crazy. The existence of the gods makes those things stay true. But they can't save it. That's what heroes are for. Heroes are to save the world that they created. That's so cool. Oh my god, I love everything about that. What a dang. If there's anything that The Last Olympian is doing great at, it's emphasizing the importance of heroes. And just like this world as a whole, like it's making it seem like a big, like, I don't know, just it's so cool. It's so cool. Also, my prediction right now, they're gonna lose the floor, and the final stand will be in Olympus, on the throne room. Like, Percy's probably gonna fight Kronos in the throne room of Olympus. I don't know why, but I like Dionysus a lot less when I first read the series. These are my favorites now though too. It's like when he first introduces himself, he's a pretty asshole-ish person, but as the story continues and goes deeper, and he like reveals the layers of himself, he's a really complex character, and honestly the most humble of all the gods, or one of, if not the most humble of all the gods, which I think is really cool. That's one thing I found interesting in the show, is that Luke and Percy have that talk about how important heroes are. Well, when Luke and Percy have the talk about the importance of heroes, it's different in the show. In the show, it's more like heroes can break the rules and gods can't. Luke is having it in a defiant sense. We have not yet had the talk in the show where it's like heroes are to preserve the world. We haven't had that talk yet. And I don't even think Luke knows that. He's just a godly tsundere. This is true. He is a tsundere. That's great. Hold on. Need, drink, throat sore. All right. Let us continue. I don't know. Hopefully these chapters can't be anywhere near 20 pages. Or at least most of them can't. Because we're so close to like the end of the book at this point. We only have this much left. So what is it? I don't expect these next couple of chapters to be super long. But who knows? They felt pretty long. Everyone thought they were short, so we'll see. But yeah. It's all great though. I don't want you to think when I'm saying it's long, it's like it's boring. It's just like, I do have other stuff to do a little bit, but it can wait. And also I want to eat, but it can wait. But like, this shit is cool. This shit is awesome. Anyways, Rachel Elizabeth there. Let's go indeed. Chapter 16, we get help from a thief. I wonder who the thief is. Probably a Hermes kid. Or Hermes himself. Who knows? Here's my definition of not fun. Fly Pegasus toward an out-of-control helicopter. If Guido had been less of a fancy flyer, would have been chopped to confetti. Okay, Rachel's awake. Interesting. Makes sense though. I could hear Rachel screaming inside. For some reason, she hadn't fallen asleep. But I could see the pilot slumped over the controls, pitching back and forth as the helicopter wobbled toward the side of an office building. Ideas? I asked Annabeth. You're going to have to take Guido and get out, she said. What are you going to do? In response, she said, "Hiya!" and Guido went to do a nosedive. Wait, what? What do you mean get out? What do you mean get out? I'm so confused. Are you inside the helicopter? What the fuck? We pass. Duck! Annabeth yelled. We passed so close to the rotors, I felt the force of the blades ripping at my hand. We zipped alongside the helicopter, and Annabeth grabbed the door. Oh. No, never mind. I thought she kicked Percy off the helicopter, but no. Never mind. We zipped alongside the helicopter, and Annabeth grabbed the door. That's when things went wrong. Guido's wings slammed against the helicopter. He plummeted straight down with me on his back, leaving Annabeth dangling from the side of the aircraft. I was so terrified I could barely think, but as Guido spiraled against it, I caught a glimpse of Rachel pulling Annabeth inside the copter. "Hang in there!" I yelled at Guido. "My wing," he moaned. "It's busted." "You can do it!" I desperately tried to remember what Selena used to tell us in Pegasus' writing class. Just relax. Just relax. The wing, extend it, and glide. Hold on. Let me go back for a second. Alright. Anyways, I thought Rick had messed up and had Annabeth talk to Guido, but she didn't. But he didn't, so cool. We fell like a rock. Straight brain read words. Straight toward the pavement, 300 feet below. At the last moment, Guido extended his wings. I saw the face of centaurs gaping up at us. Then we pulled out of our dive, sailed 50 feet, and tumbled into the pavement. Pegasus over demigod. Ow! Ow! Guido moaned. My legs, my head, my wings. Chiron galloped over with his medical pouch and began working on the Pegasus. I got to my feet. When I looked up, my heart crawled into my throat. The helicopter was only a few seconds away from slamming into the side of a building. Then, miraculously, the helicopter righted itself up. It spun in a circle and hovered. Very slowly, it began to descend. It seemed to take forever, but finally, the helicopter thudded to a land in the middle of Fifth Avenue. I looked through the windshield and couldn't believe what I was seeing. Annabeth was at the controls. Oh, I was right. She did kick them out of the helicopter. Okay, cool. No, she didn't. Rachel pulled Annabeth inside the helicopter. My bad. Brain didn't read that. I ran forward as the rotor spun to a stop. Rachel opened the side door, and dragged out the pilot. Rachel was still dressed like she was on vacation, in beach shorts and a t-shirt and sandals. Her hair was tangled, and her face was green from the helicopter ride. Annabeth climbed out at last. I stared at her in awe. I didn't know you could fly a helicopter. Neither did I, she said. My dad's crazy into aviation. Plus, Dad had some notes on flying machines. I just took my best guess on the controls. You saved my life, Rachel said. Annabeth flexed her bad shoulder. Yeah, well, let's not make a habit of it. What are you doing here, Dare? Don't you know better than to fly into a war zone? Rachel glanced at me. I had to be here. I knew Percy was in trouble. Got that right, Annabeth grumbled. Well, if you'll excuse me, I have some injured friends I've got to tend to. Glad you could stop by, Rachel. Annabeth, I called. She stormed off. Annabeth, it's literally war. We don't have time for this. Rachel plopped down on the curb and put her head in her hands. I'm sorry, Percy. I didn't mean to. I always mess things up. It was kind of hard to argue with her. Come on, Percy. Don't do that. Though I was glad she was safe. I looked in the direction Annabeth had gone, but she disappeared into the crowd. I couldn't believe what she'd just done. Saved Rachel's life, landed the helicopter, and walked away like it was no big deal. It's okay, I told Rachel, though my words sounded hollow. So what's the message you want to deliver? She frowned. How did you know about that? A dream? Rachel didn't look surprised. She tucked in her beach shorts. They were covered in drawings, which wasn't unusual for her. But these symbols I recognized. Greek letters, pictures from the camp beads, sketches of monsters and faces of gods. I didn't understand how Rachel could have known about some of that. She'd never been to Olympus or Camp Half-Blood. I've been seeing things too, she muttered. I meant not just through the mist. This is different. I've been drawing pictures, writing lines. In ancient Greek, I said. Do you know what they say? That's what I want to talk to you about. I was hoping, well, if you had gone with us on vacation, I was hoping you could have helped me figure it out. What's happening to me? She looked at me pleadingly. Her face was sunburned from the beach. Her nose was peeling. I couldn't get over the shock that she was here in person. She forced her family to cut short their vacation, agreed to a horrible school, and flown a helicopter into a monster battle just to see me. In her own way, she was as brave as Annabeth. She's braver than Annabeth because she's not a demigod. She's just a regular person. She doesn't do crazy shit like this on the daily. But what was happening to her with these visions really freaked me out. Maybe it was something that happened to all mortals who could see through the mist. My mom had never talked about anything like that. And Astia's words about Luke's mom kept coming back to me. May Castellan went too far. She tried to see too much. Rachel, I said, I wish I knew. Maybe we should ask Chiron. She flinched like she got an electric shock. Percy, something about to happen. A trick that ends in death. What do you mean? Whose death? I don't know. She looked around nervously. Don't you feel it? Is that the message you wanted to tell me? No, she hesitated. I'm sorry. I'm not making sense. But that thought just came to me. The message I wrote on the beach was different. It had your name in it. Perseus, I remembered, in ancient Greek. Rachel nodded. I don't know its meaning, but I know it's important. You have to hear it. It said, Perseus, you are not the hero. What? What are you talking about? What do you mean he's not the hero? Is he not the child of prophecy? What is Thalia gonna unimmortal herself to turn 16 so Percy can become she can become the child of prophecy? Dun dun dun. I'm so confused. What do you mean he's not the hero? I stared at her like she just slapped me. You came thousands of miles to tell me I'm not the hero. It's important, she insisted. It will affect what you do. Not the hero of prophecy, I asked. Not the hero who defeats Kronos? What do you mean? I'm sorry, Percy, that's all I know. I had to tell you because, well, Chiron kept it over. This must be Miss Dare. I wanted to yell at him to go away, but of course I couldn't. I tried to get my emotions under control. I felt like I had another personal hurricane swirling around me. Welcome to the Percy experience, completely dumbfounded, apparently. Chiron? Rachel Dare, I said. Rachel, this is my teacher, Chiron. Hello, Rachel said glumly. She didn't look at all surprised that Chiron was a centaur. You are not asleep, Miss Dare, I noticed, and yet you are mortal. I'm mortal, she agreed, like it was a depressing thought. The pirate fell asleep as soon as we passed the river. Yeah, it's not even that she's just a seer. It's like Percy's mom is a seer, and she's asleep. The pirate fell asleep as soon as we passed the river. I don't know why I didn't. I just knew I had to be here to warn Percy. Warn Percy? She's been seeing, as I said, writing lines and making drawings. Chiron raised an eyebrow. Indeed. Tell me. She told him the same thing she told me. Chiron stroked his beard. Miss Dare, perhaps we should talk. Chiron, I blurted. I had a sudden terrible image of Camp Halfone in the 1990s. And May Castellan's scream coming from the attic. You'll help Rachel, right? I mean, you'll warn her to not that she's got to be careful with this stuff, not go too far. His tail flickered like it does when he's anxious. Yes, Percy, I will do my best to understand what is happening and advise Miss Dare. This may take some time. Meanwhile, you should rest. We moved your parents' car to safety. The enemy seems to be staying put for now. We put up bunks in the Empire State Building. Get some sleep. Everybody's telling me to sleep, I grumbled. I don't need sleep. Chiron managed to smile. Have you looked at yourself recently, Percy? I glanced down at my clothes, which are scorched, burned, sliced, and tattered from my night of constant battles. I look like death, I admitted. But you think I can sleep after what just happened? You may be invulnerable to combat, Kyra chided, but it only makes your body tire faster. I remember Achilles. Whenever that lad wasn't fighting, he was sleeping. He must have taken 20 naps a day. You, Percy, need your rest. You may be our only hope. Help me, everyone can help me. I wanted to complain, but I wasn't their only hope. According to Rachel, I wasn't the hero, but the look in Chiron's eyes made it clear. He wasn't going to take no for an answer. Sure, I grumbled. Talk. I trudged toward the Empire State Building. When I glanced back, Rachel and Chiron were walking toward the earnest conversation, walking together in an earnest conversation, like they were discussing funeral arrangements. Inside the lobby, I'm on an empty bunk and collapsed, sure that I would never be able to sleep. And a second later, my eyes closed. Isn't that how it always is? Okay. Anyways, in my dreams, I was back in Hades' garden. Yeah, I was just thinking, when are we gonna see Nico again? And sure enough, my boy returns. In my dreams, I was back in Hades' garden. The Lord of the Dead paced up and down, holding his ears while Nico followed him, waving his arms. You have to, Nico insisted. Demeter and Persephone sat behind them at the breakfast table. Both of the goddesses looked bored. Demeter poured shredded wheat into 4 huge bowls. Persephone was magically changing the flower arranged on the table, turning the blossoms from red to yellow to polka dotted. I don't have to do anything, Hades blazed. I'm a god. Father, Nico said, if Olympus falls, your own palace's safety doesn't matter. You'll fade too. I am not an Olympian, he growled. My family has made that quite clear. You are, Nico said, whether you like it or not. You saw what they did to your mother, Hades said. Zeus killed her, and you would have me help them? They deserve what they get. Persephone sighed. She walked her fingers across the table, absently turning the silverware into roses. Could we please not talk about that woman? You know what would help this boy? Demeter mused. Farming. Persephone rolls her eyes. Mother! 6 months behind the plow? Excellent character building. Nico stepped in front of his father, forcing Hades to face him. My mother understood about family. That's why she didn't want to leave us. You can't just abandon your family because they did something horrible. You've done horrible things to them too. Facts. Maria died, Hades reminded him. You can't just cut yourself off from the other gods. I've done very well at it for thousands of years. And has that made you feel any better? Nico demanded. Has that curse on the Oracle helped you at all? Holding grudges is a fatal flaw, Bianca warned me about that. And she was right. For demigods, I am immortal, all-powerful. I would not help the other gods if they begged me. If Percy Jackson himself pleaded, you're just as much of an outcast as I am, Nico yelled. Stop being angry about it, and do something helpful for once. That's the only way they'll respect you. Hades' palm filled with black fire. Go ahead, Nico said. Blast me. It's just what the other gods would expect from you. Prove them right. Yes, please, Demeter complained. Shut him up. Persephone sighed. Oh, I don't know. I'd rather fight in the war than eat another bowl of cereal. This is boring. Hades roared in anger. His fireball hit a silver tree right next to Nico, melting it into a pool of liquid metal. And my dream changed. I was standing outside the United Nations. What the fuck? About a mile northeast of the Empire State Building. Nope, okay, I get it. The Titan army had set up a camp all around the UN complex. The flagpoles were hung with horrible trophies, helmets, and armor pieces from defeated campers, all along First Avenue. Giants sharpened their axes. Telkanes repaired armor at makeshift forges. Kronos himself paced at the top of the plaza, swinging his scythe so his Dracane bodyguards stayed way back. Ethan Nakamura and Prometheus stood nearby, out of slicing range. He was fidgeting with his shield straps, but Prometheus looked as calm and collected as ever in his tuxedo. I hate this place, Kronos growled. United Nations, as if mankind could ever unite. Remind me to tear this building down after we destroy Olympus. Yes, Lord, Prometheus smiled, as if his master's anger amused him. Shall we tear down the stables in Central Park too? I know how much horses can annoy you. Don't mock me, Prometheus. Those cursed centaurs will be sorry they interfered. I will feed them to hellhounds, starting with that son of mine, that weakling Chiron. Prometheus shrugged. That weakling destroyed an entire legion of Telkins with his arrows. Kronos swung his scythe and cut a flagpole in half. The national colors of Brazil toppled into the army, squashing a Jacane. We will destroy them, Kronos roared. It is time to unleash the Draken. Nakamura, you will do this. Yes, Lord, at sunset. No, Kronos said. Immediately, the defenders of Olympus are badly wounded. They will not expect a quick attack. Besides, we know this Draken they cannot beat. Eden looked confused. My lord? Never you mind, Nakamura. Just do my bidding. I want Olympus in ruins by the time Typhon reaches New York. We will break the gods utterly. But my lord, Ethan said, your regeneration. Kronos pointed at Ethan, and the demigod froze. Does it seem, Kronos hissed, that I need to regenerate? Ethan didn't respond. It's kind of hard to do when you're immobilized in time. Kronos snapped his fingers and Ethan collapsed. Soon, the Titan growled. This form will be unnecessary. I will not rush with victory so close. Now go. Ethan scrambled away. This is dangerous, my lord, Prometheus warned. Do not be hasty. Hasty? After festering for 3,000 years in the depths of Tartarus, you call me hasty. I will slice Percy Jackson into 1,000 pieces. Thrice you fought him, Prometheus pointed out, and yet you've always said it is beneath the dignity of a Titan to fight a mere mortal. I wonder if your mortal host is influencing you, weakening your judgment. Kronos turned his golden eyes on the other Titan. You call me weak? No, my lord, I only meant, are your loyalties divided, Kronos asked. Perhaps you miss your old friends, the gods. Would you like to join them? Prometheus paled. I misspoke, my lord. Your orders will be carried out. He turned to the armies and shouted, prepare for battle! The troops began to stir. From somewhere behind the UN compound, an angry roar shook the city, the sound of a draken waking. The noise was so horrible it woke me, and I realized I could still hear it from a mile away. Grover stood next to me, looking nervous. What was that? They're coming, I told him, and we're in trouble. Kronos is getting more reckless. He is. He's getting impatient. He's getting pissed off at the human body that he's in, and he's getting pissed off that he keeps getting thwarted. The Hephaestus cabin was out of Greek fire. The Apollo cabin and the hunters were scrounging for arrows. Most of us had already ingested so much ambrosia and nectar, we didn't dare take any more. We had 16 campers, 15 hunters, and half a dozen satyrs left in fighting shape. The rest had taken refuge on Olympus. The party ponies tried to form ranks, but they staggered and giggled, and they all smelled like root beer. The Texans were headbutting the Coloradans. The Missouri branch was arguing with Illinois. The chances were pretty good. The whole army would end up fighting each other rather than the enemy. Chiron trotted up with Rachel on his back. I felt a twinge of annoyance because Chiron rarely gave anyone a ride, and never a mortal. Your friend here has some useful insights, Percy, he said. Rachel blushed. Just some things I saw in my head. A Draken, Chiron said. A Lydian Draken, to be exact. The oldest and most dangerous kind. I stared at her. How did you know that? I'm not sure, Rachel admitted, but this Draken has a particular fate. It will be killed by a child of Ares. My girl is about to arrive. The gamer rage is taking over. It is. Indeed it is. Stretch time. Shit. And with crossed arms. How can you possibly know that? I just saw it. I can't explain. Well, let's hope you're wrong, I said, because we're a little short on children of Ares. A horrible thought occurred to me, and I cursed in ancient Greek. What? Annabeth said. The spy, I told her. Kronos said we know they cannot beat this Draken. The spy's been keeping him updated. Kronos knows the Ares cabin isn't with us. He intentionally picked a monster we can't kill. Dahlia scowled. If I ever catch your spy, He's going to be very sorry. Maybe we could send another messenger to camp. I've already done it, Kyron said. Blackjack is on his way. But if Selena wasn't able to convince Clarice, I doubt Blackjack will be able. A roar shook the ground. It sounded very close. Rachel, I said, get inside the building. I want to stay. A shadow blotted out the sun. Across the street, the Draken slithered down the side of the skyscraper. Crap, it's already here. It is already here. Shit. Face hurt. Okay. What is it? So down the street, down the side of a skyscraper. It roared, and 1,000 windows shattered. On second thought, Radio said in a small voice, I'll be inside. Yeah, go. Let me explain. There are dragons, and then there are drakens. Drakens are several millennia older than dragons, and much larger. They look like giant serpents. Most don't have wings. Most don't breathe fire, though some do. All are poisonous. All are immensely strong, with scales harder than titanium. Their eyes can paralyze you. Not the turn you into stone Medusa type paralyzed, but the oh god, that big snake is going to eat me type of paralyzed, which is just as bad. Okay, so just fear. Okay, so just don't be scared. We have Draken fighting classes at camp. There's no way to prepare yourself for a 200-foot long serpent as thick as a school bus slithering down the side of a building. Its yellow eyes like searchlights, and its mouth full of razor-sharp teeth, big enough to chew elephants. It almost made me long for the flying pig. Meanwhile, the enemy army advanced on the 5th Avenue. We did our best to push cars out of the way to keep mortals safe, but that just made it easier for our enemies to approach. The party ponies switched their tails nervously. Kyron galloped up and down their ranks, shouting encouragement to stand tough and think about victory and root beer. But I figured any second they would panic and run. I'll take the Draken. My voice came out as a timid squeak. Then I yelled louder, I'll take the Draken! Everyone else, hold the line against the army. Annabeth stood next to me. She had pulled her owl helmet low over her face, but I could tell her eyes were red. Will you help me? I asked. That's what I do, she said miserably. I help my friends. Let's freaking go. Let's freaking go. I felt like a complete jerk. I wanted to pull her aside and explain that I didn't mean for Rachel to be here, that it wasn't my idea, but we had no time. Go invisible, I said. Look for weak links in its armor. While I keep it busy, just be careful. I whistled. Miss O'Leary, heal. Ruff. Miss O'Leary leaped over a line of centaurs and gave me a kiss that smelled suspiciously of pepperoni pizza. I drew my sword and we charged the monsters. The Draken was 3 stories above us, slithering sideways along the building as it sized up our forces. Wherever it looked, centaurs froze in fear. From the north, the enemy army crashed into the party ponies, and our lines broke. The Draken lashed out, swallowing 3 Californian centaurs in one gulp. Before I could even get close, Mrs. O'Leary launched herself through the air. A deadly black shadow with teeth and claws, normally a pouncing hellhound, is a terrifying sight, but next to the Draken, Mrs. O'Leary looked like a child's night-night doll. Her claws raked harmlessly off the Draken's scales. She bit the monster's throat, but couldn't make a dent. Hold on. Hold the fuck on. Let me register this again. Yo, Cabin 7 Avenger, welcome in. It's nice to have you. Once again, we're in the middle of the Draken fight. Just so you know. Okay, so Percy charged it. The Draken was 3 stories above us, slithering sideways along the building. Yes, this! Along the building as it sized up our forces. Wherever it looked, centaurs froze in fear. From the north, the enemy army crashed into the party ponies and our lines broke. The Draken lashed out, swallowing 3 Californian centaurs in one gulp before I could even close. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, we just got to this part. I didn't even realize he ate 3 centaurs. Miss O'Leary launched herself through the air. A deadly black shadow with teeth and claws. Normally a pouncing hellhound is a terrifying sight, but next to the drake and Mr. looked like a child's night-night doll. Oh, what? Okay, anyways. Her claws raked harmlessly off the drake and scales. She bit the monster's throat, but couldn't make a dent. Her weight, however, was enough to knock the Draken off the side of the building. Okay, good. It flailed awkwardly and crashed to the sidewalk, hellhound and serpent twisting and thrashing. The Draken tried to bite Miss O'Leary, but she was too close to the serpent's mouth. Poison spewed everywhere, melting centaurs into dust, along with quite a few monsters, but Miss O'Leary weaved around the serpent's head, scratching and biting. Yeah! I don't know what that noise was that I made. Hold on. Okay. Anyways, now that my body's done doing that nonsense. Yeah! I plunged Riptide deep into the monster's left eye. The spotlight went dark. The Draken hissed and reared back to strike, but I rolled aside. It bit a swimming pool sized chunk out of the pavement. It turned toward me with its good eye, and I focused on its teeth so I wouldn't get paralyzed. Mrs. O'Leary did her best to cause a distraction. She leaped into the serpent's head and scratched and growled like a really angry black wig. The rest of the battle wasn't going well. The centaurs had panicked under the onslaught of giants and demons. An occasional orange camp t-shirt appeared in the sea of fighting, but quickly disappeared. Arrows streamed. Fire exploded in waves. Both armies. In waves across both armies, but the action was moving across the street to the entrance of the Empire State Building. We were losing ground. Suddenly, Annabeth materialized on the Draken's head. Her invisibility cap rolled off her head. Let's go! As she drove her broad knife between a chink in the serpent's scales, the Draken roared. It coiled around and knocking Annabeth off its back. I reached her just as she hit the ground. I dragged her out of the way as the serpent rolled, crushing a lamppost right where she'd been. Thanks, she said. I told you to be careful. Yeah, well, duck! It was her turn to save me. She tackled me as the monster's teeth snapped above my head. Mrs. O'Leary body-slammed the Draken's face to get its attention, and we rolled out of the way. Meanwhile, our allies had retreated to the doors of the Empire State Building. The entire enemy army was surrounding them. We were out of options. No more help was coming. Annabeth and I would have to retreat before we were cut off from Mount Olympus. When I heard a rumbling in the south, it wasn't a sound you hear much in New York, but I recognized it immediately. Chariot wheels. A girl's voice yelled, "Ares!" There's no way. And a dozen war chariots charged into battle. Each flew red banner with the symbol of the wild boar's head. Each was pulled by a team of skeletal horses with manes of fire. A total of 30 fresh warriors, armor gleaming and eyes full of hate, lowered their lances as one making a bristling wall of death. "The children of Ares!" Annabeth said in amazement. "How did Rachel know?" I didn't have an answer, believing the charge was a girl in a familiar red armor. Her face covered by a boar's head helmet. "My freaking girl, Clarice, let's go! Let's go!" She held aloft a spear that crackled with electricity. Clarice herself had come to the rescue. While half her chariots charged the monster's army, Clarice led the other 6 straight for the Draken. The serpent reared back and managed to throw off Mrs. O'Leary. My poor pet hit the side of the building with a yelp. I ran to help her, but the serpent had already zeroed in on the new threat. Even with only one eye, its glare was enough to paralyze two chariot drivers. They veered into the line of cars. The other 4 chariots kept charging. The monster bared its fangs to strike and got a mouthful of celestial bronze javelins. "Yes!" it screamed, which is probably Draken for ow. "Ares, to me!" Clarice screamed. Her voice sounded shriller than usual, but I guess that wasn't surprising given what she was fighting. Across the street, the arrival of 6 chariots gave the party ponies new hope. They rallied at the doors of the Empire State Building, and the enemy army was momentarily thrown into confusion. Meanwhile, Khaleesi's chariots circled the Draken. Lances broke against the monster's skin. Skeletal horses breathed fire and whinnied. Two more chariots overturned, but the warriors simply leaped to their feet, drew their swords, and went to work. Let's freaking go, Ares cabin! They hacked at chinks in the creature's scales. They dodged poison spray like they've been training for this all their lives, which of course they had. No one could say that Ares campers weren't brave. Clarice was right in front, stabbing its spear at the Draken's face, trying to put out its other eye. But as I watched, things started to go wrong. The Draken snapped up one of Ares' campers in a gulp. He just ate that man. He knocked aside another and sprayed poison on a third who retreated in a panic, his armor melting. "We have to help," Annabeth said. She is right. I've just been standing there frozen in amazement. Miss O'Leary tried to get up, but yelped again. One of her paws was bleeding. "Stay back, girl," I told her. "You've done enough already." Annabeth and I jumped on the monster's back and ran toward its head, trying to draw its attention away from Clarice. Her cabin mates threw javelins, most of which broke, but some lodged in the monster's teeth. It snapped its jaws together until its mouth was a mess of green blood, yellow foamy poison, and splintered weapons. "You can do it!" I screamed at Clarice. "A tolerant berries is destined to kill it!" Through her war helmet, I could only see her eyes, but I could tell something was wrong. Her blue eyes shone with fear. Clarice never looked like that, and she didn't have blue eyes. What the fuck? What do you mean she doesn't have blue eyes? Ares, she shouted in that strangely shrill voice. She lowered her spear and charged the dragon. "No," I muttered. "Wait!" But the monster looked down at her, almost in contempt, and spit poison directly in her face. She screamed and fell. "Clarice!" Annabeth jumped off, and the monster's back ran to help, while the other campers tried to defend their fallen counselor. I drove Riptide between the creature's scales and managed to turn its attention to me. I got thrown, but I landed on my feet. "Come on, you stupid worm! Look at me!" The next several minutes, all I saw were teeth. I retreated and dodged the poison, but I couldn't hurt the thing. At the edge of my vision, I saw a flying chariot land on 5th Avenue. When someone ran toward us, a girl's voice, shaken with grief, cried, "No! Curse you! Why?" I dared to glance over, but what I saw made no sense. Clarice was lying on the ground where she'd fallen. Her armor smoked with poison. Annabeth and the Ares campers were trying to unfasten her helmet. And kneeling next to them, her face blotchy with tears, was a girl in camp clothes. It was Clarice. What the fuck? What's this second Clarice? What's going on? Bro has the sticks and Annabeth is still out here saving his butt. This is true. The sad thing, many of the Ares kids get trained so hard, including Clarice, to get their father's attention. Ares would say thanks until they work harder because they weren't enough for him. Yeah, Ares campers kind of have it the hardest because Ares seems to be the most assholish of all the gods. My head spun. Why hadn't I noticed before? The girl in Clarice's armor was much thinner, not as tall. Why would someone pretend to be Clarice? Was it Selena? I was so stunned. The dragon almost snapped me in half. I dodged, and the beast buried its head in the brick wall. "Why?" the real Clarice demanded, holding the other girl in her arms while the campers struggled to remove the poison-corroded helmet. Chris Rodriguez ran over from the flying chariot. He and Clarice must have ridden it here from camp, chasing the Ares campers, who'd mistakenly been following the other girl, thinking she was Clarice. But it still made no sense. Selena! No way! Selena made them think Clarice was going so the Ares cabin would join. The draken tugged its head from the brick wall and screamed in rage. "Look out!" Chris warned. Instead of turning toward me, the draken whirled toward the sound of Chris's voice. It bared its fangs at the group of demigods. The real Clarice looked up at the Draken, her face filled with absolute hate. I'd seen a look that intense only once before. Her father, Ares, had worn the same expression when I fought him in single combat. "You want death?" Clarice screamed at the Draken. "Well, come on!" She grabbed her spear from the fallen girl with no armor or shield. Oh ho 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 ho! She charged let's freaking go, Clarice. She charged the Draken. I tried to close the distance to help, but Clarice was faster. She leaped aside as the monster struck, pulverizing the ground in front of her. Then she jumped at the creature's head. As it reared up, she drove the electric spear into its good eye. With so much force, it shattered the shaft, releasing all the magic weapon's power. Electricity arced over the creature's head, causing its whole body to shudder. Clarice jumped free, rolling safely to the sidewalk as the smoke boiled over the Draken's mouth. The Draken's flesh dissolved and it collapsed into a holy scaly tunnel of armor. The rest of us stared at Clarice in awe. I have never seen anyone take down such a huge monster single-handedly, but Clarice didn't seem to care. She ran back to the wounded girl who'd stolen her armor. Finally, Annabeth managed to remove the girl's helmet. They all gathered around. The Ares campers, Chris, Clarice, and Annabeth, and me. The battle still raged along Fifth Avenue, but for that moment, nothing existed except for the small circle and the fallen girl. Her features, once beautiful, were badly burned from poison. I could tell that no amount of nectar or ambrosia would save her. Something is about to happen, Rachel's words rang in my ears. A trick that ends in death. Now I knew what she meant, and I knew who had led the Ares cabin into battle. I looked down at the dying face of Selena Beauregard. Dude. Not only did Beckendorf die, but Clarice died too. Not Clarice. Selena died too. They both died. Clarice got her Kratos QTE moment. She really quick time evented that Draken. Well, at least she'll get to see Beckendorf again. Yeah. Dude. I wanted an Aphrodite camper to have a cool moment. But really? Selena didn't run Ethan's fade. She tricked the Ares cabin into showing up so that they would aid in the fight and died in the process. And I can see as well, Rick can't keep getting away with this. He really can't, bro. That was such a Chadley moment for both of them. Selena shows up. Rick is literally Rick rolling on. Shut the hell up. No, Selena shows up and leads the Ares cabin into battle. And freaking Clarice sees her dying and just stares at the monster and goes, "You want death?" What? What? That's so hard, bro. I can't wait to see that live action. You want death? Oh, that's so hard. With no armor, she takes it out. Oh, that's so cool. And I can see the seeds being planted as well as, like, Rachel taking the spot of the next Oracle, because she's seeing shit. She's saying shit that like is so vague and prophecy like a trick that would end in death. That's such a crazy prophecy like thing to say, you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. Selena was a hero, she was. It's going to be masterfully epic. What is? Did I say something? Or are you just talking about in general that it's going to be masterfully epic? Because it's been epic this whole time. Like, this is like Avengers level Battle of New York shit, but elongated. Remember, Selena is not anything close to a fighter, but still stands her ground to fight the dragon, absolutely worthy of hero status. This is true. I know she's not a fighter, but I still wanted, like, you know, it would have been cool if she saw Ethan and Percy was like, that's the guy who killed Beckendorf. And then she got, like, her Aphrodite love powers, like, raging in her bones. And she's like, nah, I'm about to kill him. Like, she was like, for love, and she fucking murdered Ethan Nakamura. That'd be so cool. That'd be so cool. But, you know, she got this moment, which is not, I'm not saying this is a bad moment. This is a great moment for Selena. This is great. And Clarice is probably gonna be mad at herself. She's like, if I had just gone, then this would never happen. But Clarice is here now. So, we stand a better chance. You're talking about season 5. That's right. So yes, no, this is gonna be great in live action, dude. That's gonna be like just Clarice standing against him. I can picture the actress. I picture the characters as their actors most of the time, anyways. So I just picture the actress like standing in front of the like, you want death? Like what exactly does she say? Hold on. You want death? Well, come on. Oh, that's so hard, bro. That's so cool. What's cooler than rallying the most stubborn campers to come save the day in their time of need? That's right. That's so right. All right. We are about to get into the last chapter for the day. Dang. There's more than just Selena laying there too. That's true. 3 Ares campers got eaten as well. So like, oh man. So many people died in that encounter. And for that 1 second, the book was called Clarice LaRue and the Last Olympian. Facts. I love Clarice, man. I still wish we got to see more of her. Alright. Alright. Let's get into the final chapter for the day. I'm excited, and then the next stream, we will finally be able to finish out this book and the Percy series as a whole. The first Percy series, obviously. Alright. I sit on the hot seat. I can only imagine this meeting Percy's gonna get interrogated by everyone. Alright. What were you thinking? Clarice cradled Selena's head. Oh, God. I forgot we still have to have the death scene. We still have to have the death scene. Shit. What were you thinking? Clarice cradled Selena's head in her lap. Selena tried to swallow, but her lips were dry and crackled. Wouldn't listen. Cabin would only follow you. No. So you stole my armor? Clarice said in disbelief. You waited until Chris and I went on a patrol. You stole my armor and pretended to be me. She guarded her siblings. And none of you noticed? The Ares campers developed a sudden interest in their combat boots. Don't blame them, Selena said. They wanted to believe I was you. You stupid Aphrodite girl, Clarice sobbed. You charged a Draken? Why? All my fault, Selena said, a tear streaking the side of her face. The Draken, Charlie's death, camp endangered. Stop it, Clarice said. That's not true. Selena opened her hand, and in her palm was a silver bracelet. with the scythe charm, the mark of Kronos. What the fuck? What the fuck just happened? What the fuck did you say to me? What the fuck did you say to me? She was the traitor? I thought it was gonna be like Michael Yu or something. Like some random, like maybe the child of Dionysus or something. My girl Selena? We can't move on. You haven't cried yet. Yeah. Traitor! Yeah, Kylo Ren. Yeah. Traitor! No way. The chapter just started. It's the first page. She was the traitor all along. Flips table. Us Apollo kids are gullible, but not that gullible. Why did she do it? What the fuck? A cold fist closed around my heart. You were the spy? Selena tried to nod. Before I liked Charlie, Luke was nice to me. He was so charming, handsome, whore. No, I'm kidding. Sorry. Later, I wanted to stop helping him, but he threatened to tell. He promised I was saving lives. Few people would get hurt. He told me he wouldn't hurt Charlie. He lied to me. I met Annabeth's eyes. Her face was chalky. She looked like someone had just yanked the world out from under her. Behind us, the battle raged. Clarice scowled at her cabin mates. Go help the centaurs! Protect the doors! Go! They scrambled off to fight. Selena took a heavy, painful breath. Forgive me. You're not dying, Clarice insisted. Charlie, Selena's eyes were a million miles away. See, Charlie, she didn't speak again. Clarice held her and wept. Chris put a hand on her shoulder. Finally, Annabeth closed Selena's eyes. We have to fight. Annabeth, oh fuck. Luke, he's got me tearing up, bro. He got me cheering up, bro. The real traitor was the friends we made along the way. That's actually facts. I don't like that. That's correct. I don't like that you're right. Oh, dude. That's fucked, bro. They can't even mourn. They have to fight. We have to fight. Annabeth's voice was brittle. She gave her life to help us. We have to honor her. Clarice sniffled and wiped her nose. She was a hero, understand? A hero! I nodded. Come on, Clarice. She picked up a sword from one of her fallen siblings. Kronos is going to pay. Oh, let's fucking go, bro. Clarice is in it! She's in it now. I gotta dip, folks. I'll be back next stream. You better be. That's gonna be the most important one, I imagine, because it's the last one in the first saga. But I'll see you next time, Cabin 7. I'd like to say I drove the enemy away. I like to say I drove the enemy away from Empire State Building. The truth was, Clarice did all the work. Even without her armor or spear, she was a demon. She rode her chariot straight into the Titan's army and crushed everything in her path. She was so inspiring, even the panicked centaurs started to rally. The hunters scourged arrows from the fallen and launched volley after volley to the enemy. The Ares cabin slashed and hacked, which was their favorite thing. The monsters retreated toward 35th Street. Clarice drove the Draken carcass and lopped the grappling line through its eye sockets. She lashed her horses and took off, dragging the Draken behind the chariot like a Chinese New Year dragon. She charged through the enemy. yelling insults and daring them to cross her. As she rode, I realized she was glowing. She was literally glowing. An aura of red fire flickered around her. The blessing of Ares. Ooh. Ares is like, nah, that shit was badass. Ares like, nah, that was fucking tough. Ares is like, that was tough as fuck. Like I said, I've never seen it in person before. For the moment, Clarice was as invincible as I was. The enemy threw spears and arrows, but nothing hit her. I am Clarice, Dragon Slayer, she yelled. I will kill you all. Where is Kronos? Bring him out. Is he a coward? Oh, come on, Clarice, let's go. Clarice is so cool. Clarice is so fucking cool, bro. She is so cool. Clarice, I yelled, stop it, withdraw. What's the matter, Titan Lord? She yelled, bring it on. Oh, she's so cool. She's so cool. She's so cool. There was no answer from the enemy. Slowly they began to fall back, behind Dracane's shield wall, while Clarice drove in circles around 5th Avenue, daring anyone to cross her path. The 200-foot Draken carcass made a hollow scraping noise against the pavement, like 1,000 knives. Meanwhile, we tended our wounded, bringing them inside the lobby. Long after the enemy had retreated from sight, Clarice kept riding up and down the avenue with her horrible trophy, demanding that Kronos meet her battle. Chris said, I'll watch her. She'll get tired eventually. I'll make sure she comes inside. What about the camp? I asked. Is anybody left there? Chris shook his head. Only Argus and the nature spirits. The Peleus dragon is still guarding the tree. They won't last long, I said, and I'm glad you came. Chris nodded sadly. I'm sorry it took so long. I tried to reason with Clarice. I said, there's no point in defending camp if you die. All our friends are here. I'm sorry it took Selena. My hunters will help you stand guard, Thalia said. Annabeth and Percy, you should go to Olympus. I have a feeling they'll need you up there to set up the final defense. Dang. I'm just gonna add that to the list of topics for Percy's next therapy session. Yeah. Remember what Nico said in the beginning? He talked to Charlie's ghost. He said he would take Elysium. He chose not to be reborn because he was waiting for someone. No. That's beautiful, dude. Ah, he really made me love them in book 4.5 so he could kill both of them. Rixum. You're a bitch. Anyways, so has this book been delivering on the war they promised? No, dude. It straight up. I'm really happy the war hasn't been one chapter, because a lot of the most important fights in previous books have been one chapter, which makes sense because they weren't wars. But I was really hoping Rick would double up on it, and like literally most of this book has been battle, and I'm good with that. I'm really good. It's been freaking great, bro. A lot of this stuff is like really climactic and epic, like end of saga shit, and it's great. Like the stand to hold New York is so great. The doorman had disappeared from the lobby. His book was face down on the desk, and his chair was empty. The rest of the lobby, however, was jam-packed with wounded campers, hunters, and satyrs. Connor and Travis Stoll, let's go, they're both still alive, met us by the elevators. Honestly, I'm shocked it wasn't one of the Stoll twins. But fuck. Is it true, Connor asked, about Selena? I nodded. She died a hero. Travis shifted up comfortably. I also heard. That's it, I insisted. End of story. Oof. He's not gonna let them tarnish her name. He's not gonna let them talk about her as a traitor. Only a hero. Oh man. Come on, Percy. Right, Travis mumbled. Listen, we figure the Titan's army will have trouble getting up the elevator. We'll have to go up a few at a time, and the giants won't be able to fit at all. That's our biggest advantage, I said. Anyway, she disabled. Oh fuck! I forgot. She was wasn't she saying In earlier chapters, wasn't Selena saying it's all my fault? If I'm remembering that correctly, Rick was literally telling us. Rick was staring her in the face and going, "She's the traitor, bro. Are you dumb?" Like, and nobody was like, everyone was like, "Okay, she's not the traitor." Like, come on. It's been on site since like chapter 8. It really has. It's been, especially with Percy, bro. So we fear the Titans army will have trouble getting up the elevator. They'll have to go up a few at a time, and the Giants won't be able to fit at all. That's our biggest advantage, I said. Any way to disable the elevator? It's magic, Travis said. Usually you need a key card, but the doorman vanished. That means the defenses are crumbling. Anyone can walk into the elevator now and head straight up. And we have to keep them away from the doors, I said. We'll bottle them up in the lobby. We need reinforcements, Travis said. They'll just keep coming eventually. They'll overwhelm us. There are no reinforcements, Connor complained. Well, Nico's not here yet. And Tyson's not here yet. Poseidon's army's not here. I'm sure Poseidon's army's gonna show up. So yeah, I think that's all the people we're waiting for. I looked outside at Mrs. O'Leary, who was breathing against the glass door and smearing them with hellhound drool. Maybe that's not true, I said. Okay, come on. Yeah, my boy. Bring him in. I went outside and put a hand on Mrs. O'Leary's muzzle. Karen had bandaged her paw, but she was still limping. Her fur was muddied with leaves, pizza slices, and dried monster blood. Hey girl, I tried to sound a beat. I know you're tired, but I've got one more big favor to ask. I leaned in next to her and whispered in her ear. Also, I know Thalga's been here doing stuff. Like, she's been doing shit and she's been helping out. But I need Thalia to have like a cool moment. Like a Clarice level moment. Like if he gives a moment like that to Clarice and not Thalia, I'm gonna be a little bit impressed. Like, dude, you want death? No, hold on. I didn't remember. I gotta, because that line is gonna stick in my head. You want death? Well, come on. You want death? Well, that's gonna be ringing. Bro, I'm gonna be walking around at my house just thinking about that. That was so epic. You want death? Well, come on. Thalia better have a moment like that. It was so cool. Anyways, after Mrs. O'Leary's shadow traveled away, I rejoined Annabeth in the lobby. On the way to the elevator, we spotted Grover kneeling over a fat, wounded satyr. Linnaeus, I said. The old satyr looked terrible. His lips were blue. There was a broken spear in his belly, and his furry goat legs were twisted in a painful angle. Ooh, that's not good. He's about to fucking die. He tried to focus on us, but I don't think he saw us. Grover, he murmured. I'm here, Linnaeus. Grover was blinking back tears, despite all the horrible things Linnaeus had said about him. Did we win? Yes, Grover lied. Thanks to you, Linnaeus, we drove the enemy away. Told you, the old satyr murmured. True leader. True. He closed his eyes for the last time. Grover gulped, put his hands on Linnaeus' forehead, and spoke an ancient blessing. The old satyr's body melted until all that was left was a tiny sapling in a pile of fresh soil. A laurel, Grover said in awe. Oh, that lucky old goat. He gathered up the sapling in his hands. I should plant him in Olympus, in the gardens. We're going that way, I said. Come on. Easing listening music played as the elevator rose. I thought about the first time I'd visited Olympus. One second. Okay, anyways, book time. Yeah, we've gotten so used to the character blaming themselves when things go wrong, but she was snitching on herself. Yeah. Dang, and nobody even noticed. That's crazy. Nice. What is this? I thought about the first time I visited Mount Olympus back when I was 12. Annabeth and Grover hadn't been with me then. I was glad they were with me now. I had a feeling it might be our last adventure together. Well, you were wrong. There's like 7 more books, at least with you in them. So, yeah. Percy, Annabeth said quickly. You were right about Luke. It was the first time she'd spoken since Selena Beauregard's death. She kept her eyes fixed on the elevator floors as they blinked into magical numbers. 400, 450, 500. Grover and I exchanged glances. Annabeth, I said, I'm sorry. You tried to tell me, her voice was shaky. Luke is no good. I didn't believe you until I heard how he used Selena. Now I know. I hope you're happy. That doesn't make me happy. She put her head against the elevator wall and wouldn't look at me. Grover cradled his laurel sapling in his hands. Well, sure good to be together again. Arguing, almost dying, abject terror. Oh, look, it's our floor. I love Grover, bro. The trio has not been together that much, really, since the first one. Like, they were together at the end of Sea of Monsters, and then again at the end of Titan's Curse. No, and they were together basically all of Battle of Olympus, but they really haven't been together basically all book since this one, which is why I guess it feels like such a long time. The doors dinged and we stepped into the aerial walkway. Depressing is not a word that usually describes Mount Olympus, but it looked that way now. No fires lit the braziers. The windows were dark. The streets were deserted and the doors were barred. The only movement was in the parks, which had been set up as field hospitals. Lil Solace and the other Apollo campers scrambled around caring for the wounded. Naiads and dryads tried to help using nature magic songs to heal burns and poison. As Grover planted the laurel sapling, Annabeth and I went around trying to cheer up the wounded. I passed a satyr with a broken leg, a demigod who was bandaged from head to toe, and a body covered in a golden burial shroud of Apollo's cabin. I didn't know who was underneath. I didn't want to find out. My heart felt like lead, but we tried to find positive things to say. You'll be up and fighting titans in no time, I told one camper. You look great, Annabeth told another camper. Leanie has turned into a shrub, Grover told a groaning satyr. I found Dionysus on Pollux, propped up against a tree. He had a broken arm, but otherwise he was okay. I can still fight with the other hand, he said, gritting his teeth. No, I said, you've done enough. I want you to stay here and help with the wounded. But promise me to stay safe, I said. Okay? Personal favor. He frowned uncertainly. It wasn't like we were good friends or anything, but I wasn't going to tell him it was a request from his dad. That would just embarrass him. Finally, he promised, and when he sat back down, I could tell he was kind of relieved. Annabeth, Grover, and I kept wailing toward the palace. That's where Kronos would head. As soon as he made it up the elevator. And I had no doubt, yeah, he would, one way or another. He would destroy the throne room, center of the god's power. The bronze doors creaked open. Our footsteps echoed on the marble floor. The constellations twinkled coldly on the ceiling of the great hall. The hearth was down to a dull red glow. Hestia, in the form of a little girl. Ooh, I love seeing Hestia every time. Hestia in the form of a little girl, in brown robes, hunched at its edge, shivering. The Ophiotaurus swam sadly in a sphere of water. He let out a half-hearted moo when he saw me. In the firelight, the thrones cast evil shadows like grasping hands. Standing at the foot of Zeus's throne, looking up the stars, was Rachel Elizabeth there. She was holding a Greek ceramic vase. Rachel? I said. What are you doing with that? She focused on me as if she were coming out of a dream. I found it. It's Pandora's jar, isn't it? Her eyes were brighter than usual, and I had a bad flashback of moldy sandwiches and burnt cookies. Please put down that jar, I said. I can see hope inside it, Rachel ran her fingers over the ceramic design. It's so fragile. Rachel! My voice seemed to bring her back to reality. She held up the jar and I took it. The clay felt so cold as ice. Grover and Annabeth mumbled, let's scout around the palace. Maybe we can find some extra Greek fire or Hephaestus traps. But Annabeth elbowed him. Right, he yelped. I love traps. She dragged him out of the throne room. Over by the fire, Hestia huddled in her robes, rocking back and forth. Come on, I told Rachel. I want you to meet someone. We sat next to the goddess. Lady Hestia, I said. Hello, Percy Jackson, the goddess murmured. Getting colder, harder to keep the fire going. I know, I said. The Titans are near. Hestia focused on Rachel. Hello, my dear. You've come to our hearth at last. Rachel blinked. You've been expecting me? Hestia held out her hands, and the coals glowed. I saw images in the fire. My mother, Paul, and I eating Thanksgiving dinner at the kitchen table. My friends and me around the campfire at Camp Half-Blood, singing songs and roasting marshmallows. Rachel and me driving along the beach in Paul's Prius. I didn't know if Rachel saw the images, but tension went out of her shoulders. The warmth of the fire seemed to spread across her. To claim your place at the hearth, Hestia told her, you must let go of your distractions. It is the only way you will survive. So the hearth is feelings of home. Which has already been told to us, but still is cool to see. Rachel nodded. I understand. Wait, I said. What is she talking about? Rachel took a shaky breath. Percy, when I came here, I thought I was coming for you, but I wasn't. You and me. She shook her head. Wait now. Now I'm a distraction. It's because I'm not the hero or whatever? I'm not sure I can put it into words, she said. I was drawn to you because you opened the door to all of this. She gestured at the throne room. I needed to understand my true sight, but you and me, that wasn't part of it. Our fates aren't intertwined. I think you've always known that deep down. I stared at her. Maybe I wasn't the brightest guy in the world when it comes to girls, but I was pretty sure Rachel had just dumped me. No! Percy! Oh. What's happening to our harem, Percy? We had Annabeth, we had Calypso, we had Rachel, and now it's just down to Annabeth. This is so unfortunate. This is so sad. What was it? Where was I again? I just lost it. Which was lame, considering we never even been together. It's mega lame. So what? I said. Thanks for bringing me to Olympus. See ya. Is that what you're saying? Rachel stared at the fire. Percy Jackson, Hestia said. Rachel has told you all she can. Her moment is coming, but your decision approaches even more rapidly. Are you prepared? I wanted to complain that no, I wasn't even close to prepared. I looked at Pandora's jar for the first time. I had an urge to open it. Hope seemed pretty useless to me right now. So many of my friends were dead. Rachel was cutting me off. Annabeth was angry with me. My parents were asleep down in the street somewhere while monster armies surrounded the building. Olympus was on the verge of falling, and I'd seen so many cruel things the gods had done. Zeus destroying Maria D'Angelo, Hades cursing the last oracle, Hermes turning his back on Luke even when he knew his son would become evil. Surrender, Prometheus' voice whispered in my ear. Otherwise, your home will be destroyed. Your precious camp will burn. When I looked at Hestia, her red eyes glowed warmly. I remembered the images I'd seen in her hearth. Friends and family, everyone I cared about. I remembered something Chris Rodriguez had said. There's no point in defending camp if you die. All our friends are here. And Nico summoning with his father, Hades. If Olympus falls, he said, your own palace's safety doesn't matter. I heard footsteps, and Annabeth and Grover came back into the throne room and stopped when they saw us. I probably had a strange look on my face. Percy! Annabeth didn't sound angry anymore. Just concerned. Should we, leave again? Suddenly, I felt like someone had injected me with steel. I understood what to do. I looked at Rachel. You're not going to do anything stupid, are you? I mean, you talked to Chiron, right? She managed a faint smile. You're worried about me doing something stupid? But I mean, will you be okay? I don't know, she muttered. That kind of depends on whether you save the world, hero. I thought he wasn't the hero. What does she mean? I'm so confused. Or is it gonna be some cheesy... Don't tell me, obviously. It's gonna be some cheesy... They're all the hero, which it's like they are, but come on now. I picked Pandora's jar. The spirit of hope fluttered. inside, trying to warm the cold container. Hestia, I said, I give this to you as an offering. Goddess lifted her head. I am the least of the gods. Why would you trust me with this? You're the last Olympian, I said, and the most important. And why is that, Percy Jackson? Because hope survives at the hearth. No! There's no way. There's no way. I'm actually about to cry. I'm actually about to tear the fuck up. What the? What did you just say to me? Hope survives at the hearth? Bro. Nah, I'm tearing them up. What? Hope, sir? Are you kidding me right now? That meme of the dude riding with the fire in the background is Rick writing this book. Dude, that's so facts, bro. That's so facts. That's literally exactly what this is. I'm shocked. Hold on, let me read it. They haven't said it, but I don't get the feeling that taking the oath of Artemis diminishes your natural godly powers, or they become too focused on archery and forget to use their other powers. Yeah, it just seems like Thalia has 2 sets of powers now, which is honestly really cool. So yeah, literally not since the first book. No, they were together last book. They were like, it was Tyson was added too, but so they weren't technically a trio then, but they were all together. He isn't the hero, but he is her hero. That's true. That's also true. No. I don't even know if I can read farther. I have to like will myself to push past that amazing thematic line that Rick just hope survives at the heart. No, I need to read that again. Hestia, I said, I give this to you as an offering. The goddess tilted her head. I am the least of the gods. Why would you trust me with this? You're the last Olympian, I said, and the most important. And why is that, Percy Jackson? Because hope survives best at the hearth. Nah. I swear, after I get off this stream, I have to put down this book, and I gotta think. Because, like, that's gonna go crazy. I said, guard it for me, and I won't be tempted to give up again. He's holding hope. Pandora's jar is hope. Hope because they have to find it. And hope survives the heart, so we handed it to... Nah, bro. The goddess smiled. She took the jar in her hands, and it began to glow. The hearth fire burned a little brighter. Well done, Percy Jackson, she said. May the gods bless you. We're about to find out. That's an Annabeth and Grover. Come on, guys. I march toward my father's throne. Why do I feel... I don't know. But I feel like that was the choice. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't the choice, but I feel like that could have been. The choice might be something else. If it isn't the choice, I'm okay with that. If it is, that was awesome. But we'll see. The seat of Poseidon stood just to the right of Zeus's, but it wasn't nearly as grand. The molded black leather seat was attached to a swivel pedestal with a couple of iron rings on the side for fastening a fishpole or a trident. Basically, it looked like a chair on a deep sea boat that you would sit in if you wanted to hunt shark or marlin or sea monsters. Gods in their natural state are about 20 feet tall, so I could just reach the edge of the seat if I stretch my arms. Help me up, I told Annabeth and Grover. Are you crazy? Annabeth asked. Probably, I admitted. Percy, Grover said, the gods really don't appreciate people sitting in their thrones. I mean, like, turn you into a pile of ash is not appreciated. I highly doubt Poseidon would get mad if Percy sat in his throne. Like, they seem to have a pretty good relationship. Like, if he sat in Zeus's throne, even if Thalia sat in Zeus's throne, I feel like he'd be like, you bitch! But Percy doing it, he'd be like, bro. Like, other times, he'd be like, bro, what are you doing? This time, he'd be like, oh, my son's sitting in the throne. Okay. Like, like, it's fine. Okay. Hold on. I'm reading this description of Poseidon's chair so I can just have it in my head. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, cool. Percy, Grover said. Yeah, the gods really don't appreciate them sitting in their throne. They're turning you into a pile of ashes, yeah. I need to get his attention, I said. It's the only way. They exchanged uneasy looks. Well, Annabeth said, this'll get his attention. They linked their arms to make a step, then boosted me onto the throne. I feel like a baby with my feet so high off the ground. I looked around the other gloomy, empty thrones, and I could imagine what it would be like sitting on the Olympian council. So much power, but so much arguing. Always let other gods try and get their way. It would be easy to get paranoid, to look out only for my own interest, especially if I were Poseidon. Sitting in his throne, it felt like I had the entire sea at my command. Vast cubic miles of ocean churning with power and mystery. Why should Poseidon listen to anyone? Why shouldn't he be the greatest of the 12? Then I shook my head. Concentrate. The throne rumbled. A wave of gale-force anger slammed into my mind. Who dares? This man is in the middle of fighting. This man is in the middle of fighting Oceanus, and he's like, bitch? Who the fuck? That's so fucking funny, bro. The voice stopped abruptly. The anger retreated, which was a good thing, because just those two words had almost blasted my mind to shreds. Percy. He's like, you bitch. Oh, it's my son. My father's voice was still angry, but more controlled. What exactly are you doing on my throne? I'm sorry, Father, I said. I needed to get your attention. This was a very dangerous thing to do, even for you. If I hadn't looked before I blasted you, you would be a puddle of seawater. Yeah. I'm sorry, I said again. Listen, things are rough up here. I told him what was happening, and I told him my plan. His voice was silent for a long time. Percy, what you ask is impossible. My palace... Dad, Kronos sent an army against you on purpose. He wants to divide you from the other gods, because he knows you could tip the scales. But be that as it may, he attacked my home. I'm at your home, I said. Olympus. The floor shook. A wave of anger washed over my mind. I thought I'd gone too far. Then the trembling eased in the background of my mental link. I heard underwater explosions and the sound of battle cries. Cyclops bellowing. Mermen shouting. Is Tyson okay? I asked. The question seemed to take my dad by surprise. He's fine, doing much better than I expected. But peanut butter is a strange battle cry. Tyson is a special, beautiful soul, and I love him, and I want him back. Bring Tyson back for the final battle. He's so great. You let him fight? Stop changing the subject. You realize what you are asking me to do. My palace will be destroyed, and Olympus might be saved. Do you have any idea how long I've worked on remodeling this palace? The game room alone took 600 years. I get it, Poseidon, but if you don't come back, you won't have an ocean to rule over anymore. You will be dead, and the world will be in jeopardy, so you got their sacrifice to be made. Dad, I will help you remodel, okay? Dad, very well. Shall be as you say. But my son, pray this works. I am praying. I'm talking to you right now. Oh, yes, good point. Emperor Treaty incoming! The sound of a large explosion shattered our connection. I slipped down from the throne. Grover studied me nervously. Are you okay? You turned pale and you started smoking. I did not. Then I looked at my arms. Steam was curling off my shirt sleeves. The hair on my arm was singed. If you'd sat there any longer, Emma said, you'd have spontaneously combusted. I hope the conversation was worth it. Dang, the throne has too much power for Percy to sit in it. Moo, said the Ophiotaurus, in his sphere of water. We'll find out soon, I said. Just then, the doors of the throne room swung open. Thalia marched in. Her bow was snapped in half, and her quiver was empty. You've got to get down there, she told us. The enemy is advancing, and Kronos is leading them. And that is the end. That is the end of the chapter, of the last chapter for this stream. What a great cliffhanger to leave on. The enemy is there, and Kronos is leading them. The final battle is next, and I'm so excited to see how it turns out. Oh, I'm so excited. Everything is looking really freaking cool. Everything is ramping up, so I might actually get the tag team Poseidon and Percy moment that I've been wanting since the beginning of the series. Because Poseidon is coming. Hades is coming. Dude, or, oh my god, if the three eldest gods and the three eldest gods' children stand together at the same time, that'd be so hype as well. Oh, man. That is a really pretty way for Percy to say, take this, I'm tired of carrying it. I mean, yes, but also no. Like as you said, paraphrase, the best choice is to yield, which applies here. That's right, she did say that. He's yielding the jar to her. I remember the thrones are a physical manifestation of their power, so it'd be like if Percy popped a squat on Poseidon's head. I mean, yes, but I don't think if Poseidon gave him a piggyback ride, that Percy would explode. You know what I mean? So, I get it. But dang. I think that yield thing is going to come into play later as well. The last Olympian. Home is where the hearth is. Hope is strongest at the hearth. What did she say? Hold on. It's like, no, it's what is the line? Because hope survives best at the hearth. These last two chapters have been some of the best in the entire series. Top 3 chapters of this book so far: Percy on the bridge, Clarice and the Draken, and this one. Man, this book has been fantastic. This book has been so great so far, and I cannot wait for next stream. I should say, I don't know when next stream is going to be, because I don't know how busy I'll be for the next couple of days. It definitely won't be for the next 2 days, so I'm thinking probably Thursday or Friday. I don't know exactly when yet. Probably one of those days. But you will see. You will see soon enough, because I will put it on. Percy and Hyperion was also great. Percy and Hyperion was a great fight, for sure. But I didn't like that chapter as a whole. Wasn't as good as the other one to me, the Minotaur one and shit. I mean, in how it is just record to sit on the throne. I get it. I get you. But yeah, so probably Thursday or Friday is when the next stream is gonna be. But you'll see. I'll put it up a day before, like I usually do. I didn't do it. I don't usually do that. I usually do it the same day. But I'll put it up a day before, so you know. But yeah, man, that dude, freaking had me tearing up, almost crying. I feel like this next 6 chapters, I'm gonna like full on cry. I might actually. This is about to be great. I can feel the ending of this arc about to be fire. It's so good. It's so freaking good, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how the story ends. Honestly, I really hope that I'm able to do a stream earlier than Tuesday or Wednesday, but I probably won't be able to, so we'll see. But yeah, that's gonna have to do it for this stream, guys. Thank you everybody for joining once again. All right, see you next stream. Have a good night. Have a good night at the building. I'll see you all. Thank you for all for joining. Thank you, Bonnie, Cabin7, Matson. I don't know who else joined. Some other people as well joined. Can't remember their names. Shaughnessy Feeney. Thank you all for joining. Made it a lot of fun having a conversation, talking with you. I will see you all again for the end of Percy Jackson next time. But until then, end of stream. See you guys.